Chapter 920. The rules of the Star Convention this time will be the same as usual. Saber Emperor indifferently glanced at the other four. Now, the problem is that each of us 5 sides will choose a candidate. The candidate must be approved by more than half of the people present. After all, they are here to help us choose a talented cultivator with enough talent and perception. The Star Convention. It was a grand meeting jointly organized by the 7-star Oceanic Sacred World and the Eastern Unicorn Sacred World. It was held once every trillion years. Anyone who had cultivated for less than 2 trillion years and reached the Unity Realm was qualified to participate. The reason why it was held, their goal was to find some genius cultivators in the vast sacred world. Although the sacred grounds usually accepted disciples, the requirements were very high, and the sacred world was just too vast. There were many weak cultivators in many places who did not have the chance to travel such a long distance to become a disciple of a sacred ground. There were some monstrous geniuses among them. Like the Sword Master, he did not receive any nurturing previously. He cultivated to the primal chaos realm within an epoch in his hometown cosmos. Once he entered the great void heaven temple and flipped through many books, he broke through to the cosmos god realm in one fell swoop. There are many similar examples. Even if these geniuses that were left behind didn't have good conditions and didn't receive good nurturing, if they were able to overcome all the difficulties and cultivate to the Unity realm, once they entered the sacred ground and were nurtured, they would have a huge improvement. As for not being able to cultivate to the Unity realm in 2 trillion years, even if one's cultivation environment was bad, if one couldn't do it, they wouldn't be qualified to be considered a genius. They wouldn't even be qualified to participate in the Star Convention. There were 2 screening mechanisms for the Star Convention. The first was a competition of strength to determine the ranking. This was a competition of strength. The other possibility was that the Master Teacher Guild would arrange for 5 experts to observe the entire selection process and pick out those who were worthy of being groomed. After all, the purpose of the Great Assembly was to select monstrous geniuses. For example, if someone who had cultivated for 10 billion years fought against someone who had cultivated for 1 trillion years, even if their strength was slightly weaker, the potential of the person who had cultivated for 10 billion years would be higher. And this selection was purely based on the inner judgment of the experts. The power was too great. Hence, the 5 great holy grounds had to obtain the approval of the cosmos gods in order to select a candidate. That brat, General Axe, is currently roaming around. I've asked him, and he's willing to be the master of this Star Convention. Devil Mountain Primogenitor was the largest one present. His entire body was covered in a black shell, and his eyes were blood red. Does anyone have any objections? General Hatchet Palace Master. Of course not. No problem. It's rare for him to come. Great Emperor Cloud Serpent, Void Primogenitor, Forefather Tianyu, and Blade Emperor smiled and nodded. Few in the 6 great holy grounds reached the 9th level Star Pagoda. For instance, the Great Void Heaven Temple only had a Primal Chaos Hall Master, and the Primogenitor Island only had a General Hatchet Palace Master. For a Primal Chaos Realm to reach the 9th level, the difficulty wasn't any lower than Unity Realm reaching the 7th level. They could unleash strength close to a universe level with their Primal Chaos Realm bodies. Clearly, he had researched more thoroughly than Cosmos gods in certain aspects. Even Cosmos gods were respectful towards these primal chaos existences who could get through the 9th level Star Pagoda level. Although the Star Convention was very important, it was still very rare for someone like General Hatchet Palace Master to be one of the 5 masters. My disciple, Qing Xiu, is quite interested in the master of the Star Meeting, Emperor Cloud Serpent said. Qing Xiu? She's a bit weak. Saber Emperor frowned. I think we should change the candidate. I'll master Clear Song's reputation isn't bad. At the very least, he'll be fair, the Void Primogenitor said. I'm afraid her foresight isn't good enough. Forefather Tianyu said. Choose another. Devil Mountain Primogenitor shook his head. 3 out of the 5 present objected. Clearly, this candidate had been rejected. Clear Song Island Master was the disciple of Great Emperor Cloud Serpent. He was a primal chaos realm giant who specialized in music, and his strength was on the 7th floor of Star Tower. Great Emperor Cloud Serpent was slightly startled. He helplessly said, "Then choose Violet Slaughter, Island Master." Amen. Forefather Tion, you nodded. All right. Devil Mountain Primogenitor was straightforward. Violet Slaughter, Island Master, not bad. All right. The candidates were chosen very quickly. Primogenitor Island chose General Hatchet Palace Master. Void God Palace chose 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor. Blade Emperor City chose General Heaven Light, and Great Emperor Cloud Serpent chose Violet Slaughter Island Master, of which General Hatchet Palace Master was at the 9th level Star Pagoda Strength. 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, General Heaven Light, and Violet Slaughter Island Master were all at the 8th level Star Pagoda Strength. The teachers chosen for the convention were usually at the 8th level Star Pagoda Strength. It was rare for General Hatchet Palace Master to participate this time. Tion Yu, who will be representing your great Void Heaven Temple this time? All of them turned to Forefather Tion Yu. I have a candidate. Forefather Tion Yu said, he might be slightly weak, but I feel that he is more suitable. Who is it? Hurry up and tell us. You're still acting mysterious at this moment. The others urged. Forefather Tion Yu said, our great Void Heaven Temple has the strongest inner hall elder, Dongbua Shuang. He has killed a total of 8 destruction devils during the 7th floor of Star Tower, and he is just a short distance away from getting through the 7th floor of Star Tower. Dongbua Shuang, a Unity Realm expert? Blade Emperor frowned slightly. Isn't he slightly weak? The Star Convention is a huge event, and those participating are all at the Unity Realm. The 5 teachers of the convention have huge authority, and I feel that a Unity Realm expert is still lacking to be a teacher of the convention. I feel that he is quite suitable. Devil Mountain Primogenitor's enormous body sat there. His blood-red eyes looked at Blade Emperor. This Dongbua Shuang is considered half a step into the 7th floor of Star Tower with his strength. In terms of understanding towards a Unity Realm, even 8th level Star Pagoda Primal Chaos Giants might not be able to compete with him. His eyesight is definitely sufficient. Furthermore, it is said that he is only cultivated for a few tens of billions of years. Being a genius cultivator, he might be able to pick out more talented cultivators. Half a step into the 7th floor of Star Tower? That means he is yet to step through. Great Emperor Cloud Serpent shook his head. If he got through the 7th floor with the strength of a Unity Realm expert, nobody would have any objections. But ultimately, he did not break through. His foundation is still lacking to be a teacher of the convention. Perhaps those Unity Realm geniuses participating in the Star Convention might seem respectful on the surface, but deep in their hearts, they might not respect Dongbua Shuang. Void Primogenitor, what do you think? Currently, there were 2 who objected, Blade Emperor and Great Emperor Cloud Serpent. There are also 2 who agreed, Forefather Tion Yu and Devil Mountain Primogenitor. Finally, it all depended on Void Primogenitor. His eyesight is sufficient. He cultivates many different domains and has a deep understanding of the various great systems. I feel that he is quite suitable. Void Primogenitor said. He was still willing to help his disciples and grand-disciples. Great Emperor Cloud Serpent was startled. He passed. All right, since all of you have chosen him, then it is decided. Blade Emperor frowned slightly. But I'm afraid some cultivators will be unconvinced this time. So what if they are unconvinced? Devil Mountain Primogenitor snorted coldly. All right, the 5 candidates have been decided. Blade Emperor nodded. He did not say anything else. Even though he felt that there would be some objections, the Star Convention was held once every trillion years. It had been held many times already, and this was ultimately just one of them. Since 3 out of the 5 great holy grounds had agreed, there was no reason for him to object. Hence, the 5 teachers in charge of the Star Convention this time were General Hatchet Palace Master, Violet Slaughter Island Master, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, General Heaven Light, and Dongbua Shuang. Old Ancestor Tion Yu revealed a smile. Cultivating by oneself and being a teacher are different. This time is a rare tempering experience for Dongbua. He placed great importance on Dongbua Shuang. After all, he had 1 foot in the 7th floor of Star Tower. He was also doing his best to fight for this opportunity for Dongbua Shuang. Such tempering would be of great help to Dongbua Shui Ying's growth. The news spread rapidly. Blade Emperor City. In the most dazzling hall of a completely golden palace, a man in gray robes was sitting cross-legged on a stone bed in the hall. His entire body was emitting golden light, and it was as though he was made of gold. He was looking downwards as he shared some of his cultivation experiences. Numerous disciples were listening attentively. He was General Heaven Light, and his status in Blade Emperor City was considered high. MN, General Heaven Light frowned. He already knew who the 5 teachers of this star convention would be. This time, he took the initiative to take on the responsibility because he wanted to make use of this opportunity to choose 1 or 2 disciples for himself. A Unity Realm expert is actually on the same level as us. General Heaven Light's eyes were filled with a strand of anger. In his heart, this was the supreme convention of the 2 sacred worlds to select talented cultivators, and the status of the teachers of the convention was so high that it made him unhappy. It's a pity that this was a decision made by the highest level cosmos gods, and he was not qualified to object. Chapter 9:21. Within the Palace Hall of Time, within the holy ground Great Void Heaven Temple. On the peak of a tall mountain, Dongbua Shui Ying sat cross-legged. The wind was blowing against his robe. He was looking down at the great land and the vast starry sky. These few years, he had been consuming some supplementary materials and cultivating within the Palace Hall of Time. He wanted to fuse the Tao of Mirage and Tao of Slaughter into a move, but it's a pity that he did not manage to do so. Instead, his understanding of the primal chaos realm deepened. Everything became clearer in his understanding. Dongbua Shui Ying was certain that as time passed, his understanding of the primal chaos realm would improve. It was just a matter of time. The primal chaos realm is actually just a transition. Dongbua Shui Ying thought, primal chaos realm. It was to break through the limits of the unity realm. Allowing this Tao path to be filled with endless possibilities was to break through the point of the limit and turn it into primal chaos. The primal chaos realm could give birth to endless possibilities. Eventually, it would form a cosmos, and that would be the final realm. Cosmos God. Actually, the essence of the primal chaos realm was like a piece of white paper. The Cosmos God was like a piece of art. The white paper was clean and filled with endless possibilities. Only then could one draw it. Naturally, it was extremely difficult to draw the most exquisite piece of art from it. This was also the biggest barrier in the many realms of cultivation. Only by drawing the most perfect could one become a cosmos. Nevertheless, it was difficult to create a piece of white paper, because cultivating step by step from a weak point would leave behind too many traces. Just like the Void God Origin Birth Realm, there were many other profound mysteries mixed in, and it was impossible to turn it into a piece of white paper. Only by pursuing the pinnacle and purifying it completely, turning it into a single point. Only with the foundation of purification and unity would one be able to break through, turning it into a clean piece of white paper, primal chaos. Regardless of whether it was the realm of one's heart or cultivation, they were extremely profound. Hence, the majority of cultivation systems required one's heart to step into the primal chaos realm. If one's heart was not strong enough, one could not create this piece of primal chaos. Only with great determination and perseverance, and a deeper understanding of the Tao, could one abandon the influence of the past. Dongbua Shui Ying thought. Abandoning the influence did not mean that one did not need them. If one did not need to comprehend, would it be easier for a mortal who had never cultivated before to grasp the primal chaos? It was obviously wrong. Instead, one had to first comprehend it, then break through its influence and transcend it. Only then would one be able to discover the blank piece of paper in which all Taos existed, chaos. No matter what kind of profound laws it was, no matter what cultivation system it was, they were all born from the primal chaos. Mastering primal chaos was extremely difficult. Otherwise, they would suddenly gain enlightenment and understand the primal chaos behind the unity realm. Either he became stronger and stronger, and as he became stronger and stronger, his foundation became deeper and deeper. Naturally, his understanding would become deeper and deeper. Dongbu Shui was the second path. His Tao of slaughter, Tao of ripple, and Tao of mirage had all touched upon the primal chaos realm. Walker's hidden secret had also touched upon the primal chaos realm. He had reached this stage in all his Tao paths, and he was still trying to fuse them together. His accumulations were too deep, and naturally, his understanding of them would become deeper. A message came through. Dongwu Shui was taken aback. Star Convention? Me? One of the 5 teachers? Dongwu Shui was taken aback. The 3 great sacred realms and the 2 great sects are at war. This kind of battle was also a battle between experts. That was why the Eastern Unicorn Sacred World and the 7-Star Oceanic Sacred World would jointly organize a star convention. They would find some talented cultivators scattered across the world and pull them into their camps before nurturing them. Those who did not receive proper nurturing would have higher achievements in the past 2 trillion years. The moment they were nurtured, their achievements would be even higher. Some of them might even reach the primal chaos realm. As long as there was a cultivator who could reach the primal chaos realm in every star convention, then the star convention would be worth it. The teachers of the convention, General Hatchet Palace Master, General Heaven Light, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, and Violet Slaughter Island Master are all at the primal chaos realm, and I am the only Unity Realm expert. Dongwu Shui was clear that it was fine if the teachers of the convention had a high status. More importantly, half of the slots for the Star Convention were chosen by the teachers of the convention from the weaker juniors. This was sufficient to influence the fate of many Unity Realm geniuses. Dongbu Shui. Forefather Tian Yu's voice reverberated in the surroundings. Forefather. Dongbu Shui respectfully greeted. Becoming a teacher during the Star Convention is also a form of training for you. By then, those Unity Realm geniuses would also seek guidance from you. If the talented cultivators you choose are weak, it would mean that your judgment is bad. Forefather Tian Yu said, be it the selection or guidance, it would be a form of training for you. This is a rare opportunity, and you must grasp it well. Furthermore, you are representing my great void heaven temple this time. You must not throw the face of my great void heaven temple. Yes. Dongbu Shui immediately responded. The 5 teachers came from the 5 sacred grounds. This time, the great void heaven temple wanted him to attend. Every single action of his represented the great void heaven temple. Naturally, he had to do it beautifully. Right now, this was just the beginning of the preparations. There were still 1,000,000 years before the convention would be held. Actually, before the selection of teachers for the convention, many talented cultivators across the 2 great sacred worlds had been preparing for this star convention. Because the star convention would be held at a fixed time, once every trillion years. Some of the weaker cultivators did not have the chance to join the sacred grounds, but after a long time, they had broken through to the Unity Realm. They wanted to make use of this opportunity to enter the sacred grounds and obtain nurturing from them. It was relatively easy to participate in the convention. As long as one was qualified, he could register with the 7-Star Oceanic Pavilion or the Eastern Unicorn Hall before entering any of the major cities in the 2 great sacred worlds. By then, the sacred grounds would naturally arrange everything. Time passed. Many young Unity Realm cultivators who were filled with hope began registering for the Star Convention. The Star Convention was held by the 6 great sacred grounds, and even cosmos gods would pay attention to it. But there was an unspoken rule. Disciples from the sacred grounds were forbidden from participating. After all, the selection of talented cultivators this time was for those who were scattered across the lands and did not receive proper nurturing. Some of them had poor cultivation conditions and could barely obtain some absolute arts. Some of them could enter some primal chaos superpowers. But the primal chaos superpowers could not compare with the sacred grounds. For instance, the Black Emperor Palace. Even though the Black Emperor was amazing, he could only guide those he specialized in. As for those he did not specialize in, he could only collect some absolute art scriptures. How could the scriptures he collected compare with the Great Void Heaven Temple, Primogenitor Island, and other sacred grounds? Furthermore, the sacred grounds had cosmos gods and a group of primal chaos experts. Be it cultivation guidance, absolute art scriptures, treasures, and resources, they far surpassed the primal chaos superpowers. Naturally, the disciples sent by the primal chaos superpowers would definitely be much better than those loose cultivators. It's a pity that during the selection, Dongbua, Ying, and the others who had the same strength and cultivation period were more inclined towards the loose cultivators. Hong, in front of him, there was a huge, illusory world. There was a vague black flower forming within, though it barely formed before collapsing. It still doesn't work. Seated cross-legged on the mountain peak, Dongbua Ying softly shook his head. If I don't create this move, it is impossible for me to get through the 7th level of Star Pagoda. His Mirage, Slaughter, and Ripple Dao Absolute Arts were at the level of the 6th floor of Star Tower. Cinnabar's inheritance made his soul stronger, allowing him to unleash more sky punishment edges, causing his combat power to soar. The Imperial Dragon inheritance made his body stronger, allowing him to resist against the corrosion of the wicked destructive energy, allowing him to last longer. Even so, he could only kill 8 of the 10 destruction devils on the 7th level, and he could no longer improve any further. Dongbua Ying was clear. The first difficulty in getting through the 7th level was to break the alliance of 10 destruction devils. It was hard to break their alliance of offense and defense. If he could break it, it meant that he had touched upon the strength of the 7th level. After breaking the alliance, he would have to kill them one by one. The survival capabilities of the destruction devils varied, and those with weaker survival capabilities were easier to kill. Hence, 1, 2, 3. The further one went, the stronger their survival capabilities would be, and the harder it would be to kill them. Even though Dongbua Ying had only killed 8 of them, and only 2 were left, the difficulty was getting higher. He would most likely have to double his strength before he could kill the final 2. Even a small increase in strength was useless. No wonder those who got through the 7th level at the Unity Realm are highly respected. Dongbua Ying sighed inwardly. It is indeed difficult. It was normal for primal chaos experts to get through the 7th level. That was too abnormal for a Unity Realm expert to get through the 7th level. They would definitely reach the primal chaos realm, and the moment they broke through, they would reach the 8th level. As time passed, they would naturally become peak experts amongst those at the 8th level, and there was a high chance of them stepping into the 9th level. As for reaching the final realm, Cosmos God, that would be somewhat illusory. It is time to set off. Dongbua Ying, who was seated cross-legged on the mountain peak, stood up. Because the Star Convention would begin in a few months, and as one of the 5 teachers of the Star Convention, it was time for him to set off for the venue of the convention, the Blade Emperor's City. Chapter 922. Hong Long Long. The space distorted and collapsed. The disturbance was huge. 2 figures walked out side by side. One was Dongbua Ying, and the other was the silver-haired, silver-robed, black-skinned Inquisitive Sky Hall Master. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master might have kept his aura, but his senses were sharp enough. Ordinary primal chaos giants could discern that this was merely an incarnation of Inquisitive Sky Hall Master. When the Star Convention was held, experts from the 6 sacred grounds of the 2 great sacred worlds would attend. Usually, there would be at least 1 primal chaos expert. Because this time, the teacher of the Great Void Heaven Temple was Dongbua Ying, a Unity Realm expert. They sent another expert to be in charge of the convention, the incarnation of Inquisitive Sky Hall Master. Actually, most of them were just incarnations. Reaching the level of primal chaos experts, unless there was an important matter that required them to kill an extremely powerful enemy, they would only act with their true bodies. For ordinary meetings with friends or attending the convention, they could just send their incarnations. This is my first time coming to the Blade Emperor city. Dongbua Shui Ying looked afar. There was an incomparably huge city there. Under the lost suppression of the sacred world, it was hard for him to see the outline of the entire city with his current strength. But according to the intelligence, the Blade Emperor city was 6,800 billion kilometers long and wide. It was considered common in the primal chaos void. But in the sacred world, it was a terrifying city. This was also the biggest city in the two great sacred worlds. Hong Hong Hong. There were layers of arrays revolving above the Blade Emperor city. It was constantly causing the world energy to surge like a tidal wave. Countless colorful lights surged in all directions. Under the illumination of the sun high in the sky, the Blade Emperor city was even more dazzling. It isn't ordinary, right? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master chuckled. For the sake of constructing this Blade Emperor city, Blade Emperor has paid a huge price. It is said that even Wu Zhu and Lord Lo Chung have contributed to it. There are even unique treasures protecting the city. Even if Sacred Master were to kill his way here and destroy the entire Eastern Unicorn Sacred World, the Blade Emperor city would remain stable. After all, it is the #1 superpower of our two great sacred worlds. Dongbua Shuang nodded. Even though the Great Void Heaven Temple had a deep foundation, it was still lacking when compared to the Blade Emperor city. Come, let's go in, Inquisitive Sky Palace Master said. With a single teleportation, the two of them arrived at the east gate of the Saber Imperial City and entered the city. In just a few moments, experts from the Saber Imperial City came to welcome them and arrange accommodations for Dongbua Shui Ying, an Inquisitive Heaven's Palace Lord. The two luxurious cave abodes were where Dongbua Shui Ying and the Inquisitive Sky Palace Master stayed during the Star Convention. Inquisitive Sky Palace Master, Elder Dongbo, I have also arranged some servants in your caves. If you have any trivial matters, feel free to instruct them. A purple metal man with 3 blades on his back said, if there's anything important, send me a message directly. I'll have to trouble Commander Chiu Dao, Inquisitive Sky Palace Master said indifferently. It's my duty, Commander Chiu Dao said with a smile. Then I won't disturb the two of you. Commander Chiu Dao immediately turned around and left, quickly teleporting far away. Inquisitive Sky Palace Master looked at Commander Chiu Dao's teleportation and said, Dongbua, this time, you have become one of the 5 teachers of the convention. This has already caused some objections, so you should be even more cautious when choosing talented cultivators. After all, you're not only representing yourself, but also our Great Void Heaven Temple. I understand, Dongbua Shuang nodded. The old ancestor had given him this position as a form of training for him. When he did things, he naturally couldn't let the Great Void Heaven Temple lose face. There were still more than 3 months until the convention. Dongbua Shuang had already received the list of cultivators participating in the Star Convention, as well as the information about them, because the registration deadline was 1 year in advance, and the organizers had already arranged for experts to sweep through the cities of the 2 sacred worlds, bringing all the participants to Saber Imperial City. More than 16,000, Dongbua Shuang looked at the list of names. After a long period of silence, he began to walk around Saber Imperial City. He wanted to experience this ancient city, as well as eat some of the famous delicacies. On this day, Snow Dragon Restaurant. This was an extremely famous restaurant in Saber Imperial City. It used a special method to raise snow dragons and used the blood of the snow dragon as the main ingredient to make snow dragon wine. There were also snow dragon meat, snow dragon tongue, snow dragon liver, and various other ingredients that were cooked using different cooking methods. Over the years, it had made a name for itself in Saber Imperial City. Even though Saber Imperial City was huge and had many restaurants, it could still be ranked in the top 1,000. Cultivators also needed resources to cultivate, but where did the resources come from? Other than adventuring, killing, and fighting, this business of cooking delicacies was also a way to earn resources. There were many special ancient cultivators that were extremely talented in cooking delicacies. Amen. Dongbua Shui Ying tasted the pieces of fragrant and translucent snow dragon meat. He ate until his eyes squinted. This is absolutely ranked in the top 100 delicacies I've eaten. Amen. When I break through to the primal chaos realm and can use ultra-long distance teleportation publicly, I'll bring Jing Xiu, Yuer, Qing Yao, and the others over to have a taste. Woo, it's delicious. Let me try the snow dragon liver. Amen. This piece of snow dragon liver is really soft. It's so soft that it softens my heart. It's truly delicious. The stronger one was the more scenery one could see, of which eating delicacies was also considered a type of scenery. Pa! A wine flask fell onto the ground. The wine spilled all over the place, and the lid even rolled to the side. Seated at a corner, Dongbua Shui Ying could not help but look up. Not far away, there were 3 cultivators at the table, and it was rare for them to be at the Unity realm. At this moment, a simple-looking green-robed male stood up. His expression was pale. Seated, there was a golden-robed young man and a beautiful girl. This girl was faintly filled with charm. Being at the Unity realm actually knocked the wine flask off the table. The golden-robed young man shook his head. Brother Fu Jun, you can't even take this little blow? You can actually cultivate to the Unity realm with this little heart realm? The simple-looking green-robed male had a pale expression. He stared at the golden-robed young man and the beautiful girl. His eyes were filled with disbelief. His voice was trembling. Yinner, why is it like this? The girl in front of him, she was the true love of his heart. She was someone whom he was determined to be together with for life. He was willing to give up his life for her, and the time he spent together with her was a joyous one. Fu Jun, I'm sorry. After meeting Sun Yi for the past few days, I've already determined that he is my true love. The red-robed, beautiful girl muttered. You and I are both cultivators, and you should know that feelings cannot be forced. We should separate when we need to. I believe that with your cultivation heart realm, you should be able to adapt very quickly. Adapt? The simple-looking green-robed male looked at the girl. How am I inferior to him? I've cultivated for a shorter period than him, and I'm stronger than him. I will definitely enter the holy ground in this star convention. We have known each other for countless years, but what about you and him? We have only known each other for 1,000 years. Could it be because his father is Xing Hua Emperor? This has nothing to do with Xing Hua Emperor. When meeting true love, don't talk about 1,000 years. Even a year is enough. The red-robed, beautiful girl shook her head. The simple-looking green-robed male looked at the golden-robed young man. Xing Hua Sun Yi, I treated you as my brother, but I never expected that you would be so ruthless. Forget it. I hope that you won't let Yinner down. If you do, I will definitely not let you off. Brother Fu Jun, the golden-robed young man, shook his head. Firstly, it was your wife who seduced me in the dark. Fu Jun was stunned. The red-robed, beautiful girl beside him was also stunned. She even controlled her magic to isolate the surroundings. As for Dongbua Shui Ying, who was seated at the corner, he became interested. Within his law domain, how could this girl's strength obstruct his investigation? Secondly, after she was seduced, I immediately investigated through my Xing Hua God Palace. I even investigated her past, including you. She has already had 3 Dao companions. If I were to be included, it would be the 4th. The red-robed, beautiful girl was astonished. Fu Jun was filled with disbelief. How is that possible? Powerful cultivators had extraordinary mental states. Once they thought of themselves as Dao companions, they would rather be alone for the rest of their lives. Even if they had some special encounters that moved them, they might have a second Dao companion. But it was unheard of that true Dao companions would change 4 times in a row. This could only mean that they had ulterior motives. There were indeed such cultivators who would intentionally seduce others to become Dao companions, forcing them to sacrifice themselves for them. After all, Dao companions would not change, even in death. Just like how Dongbua Shui Ying had risked his life for his wife. He had even paid a large amount of Origin World stones without any regrets. and intentionally deceiving others to become Dao companions would allow one to obtain a large amount of resources. Yinner Yu Fu Jun looked at the red-robed, beautiful girl in front of him. Don't listen to his nonsense, the red-robed, beautiful girl said. She felt regret in her heart. In the past, she fancied the potential of Fu Jun and thought of ways to seduce him. But this time, she met the young master of the Xinghua God Palace during the Star Convention. One had to know that Xinghua Emperor was famous. He was a great expert at the 9th-level Star Pagoda strength, and even the Holy Grounds did not dare to slight him. How many resources did the young master of the Xinghua God Palace have? But it far surpassed Fu Jun. And Yin, you still want to quibble in front of me? Why? I will arrange for an expert to come over and investigate your past. How about that? The golden-robed young man held his wine cup and said indifferently. The red-robed, beautiful girl turned pale when she heard that. You are indeed the Xinghua young master. You are ruthless enough. I am convinced that I lost in your hands. The red-robed, beautiful girl immediately stood up and left. She did not even look at these two males. The golden-robed young man smiled at Fu Jun. Brother Fu Jun, you should thank me. Chapter 923. The plainly dressed Fu Jun stared blankly at the red-robed beauty who was walking out of the restaurant. He was still in disbelief. How could this be? How could this be? We're screwed this time. The red-robed, beautiful woman walked out, feeling sullen in her heart. She was extremely careful and cautious. Even if she tried to seduce young Master Xinghua in the dark, she only hinted at him slightly at the start and didn't leave anything behind. It was only after 1,000 years that she was certain that young Master Xinghua had taken the bait that she truly kicked him out. She even purposely said that she couldn't let Lord Fu be too sad and purposely stall for time until now. I didn't expect that young Master Xinghua had been faking it all this time. In fact, his faking was even better than mine. The red-robed beauty silently mused to herself. She could be considered a veteran, yet she had not seen through young Master Xinghua's disguise at all. In fact, in the legends, young Master Xinghua had never had a Dao companion before and only knew how to cultivate. Who would have thought that he was even better at disguising his emotions than her? So be if you fail. Let's see if you can enter the Holy Land during the Star Convention this time. If you fail, you will have to change your identity. The red-robed beauty and Yin secretly calculated. She was quite decisive. To her, seducing people was just a way to obtain resources for her cultivation. Inside the restaurant, Fu Jun suffered a huge blow. Previously, he thought that his Dao companion only had a change of heart. Who would have thought that all these years had been a pretense and deceit? It was all fake. Brother Fu Jun, she is intentionally lying to you. Why are you still immersed in it? The golden-robed youth laughed as he poured some wine. Come. Let's drink. Now I know that she was just pretending in the past. But can she really transcend just because she wants to? Fu Jun smiled bitterly. Brother Sun Yi, I know that you have good intentions, and you have indeed helped me avoid even greater troubles in the future. But in my heart, I secretly wish that you had never pointed it out. The golden-robed youth was slightly taken aback. If it's true, how good would that be? Fu Jun turned his head and walked out. The golden-robed youth sat there alone and poured himself a cup of wine. His gaze was distant as he muttered to himself. If it's true, he poured himself one glass after another and drank silently. Only when he was done did he pay the bill and leave. In the corner, Dongbua Shuang, on the other hand, was watching everything that was happening. As one of the 5 teachers of the convention, he had long since received the name list and information regarding the participants of the Star Convention. Naturally, he knew these 3 people. Fu Jun, cultivated for 320 billion years. Rogue cultivator, adventuring outside. Not long after reaching the Unity Realm, he met Yin and became Dao companions with her. Yin, she had cultivated for 1 trillion years and was also an itinerant cultivator. Now, it seemed that she was an extremely cunning cultivator who liked to seduce other experts to become Dao companions, thereby cheating them of their resources. Among the cultivators, there were all kinds of evil demons. Naturally, there were also those who deceived others. Xing Hua Sun Yi, cultivating for 530 billion years. His background is huge. The previous two were loose cultivators, but Xing Hua Sun Yi was the son of the famous Xing Hua Emperor. Because of his father's bloodline, his cultivation speed was extremely fast, and the speed at which he stepped into the Unity realm was even faster than Dongbua Shuiying in just 8 billion years. But after that, his strength rose at an extremely slow pace. After all, his father was a primal chaos realm giant, and he could only reach the Unity realm by relying on his bloodline cultivation system. Because his status was high enough, there was a lot of information regarding Xing Hua Sun Yi. From young to old, there were a lot of records. According to the records, he had never had a Dao companion before. He only knew that he was immersed in cultivating in the Xing Hua God Palace. It's a pity that his strength was ordinary. Interesting. Truly interesting. Dongbua Shuiying looked at the departing back of this golden-robed young man. A person who has never had a Dao companion and only knows how to cultivate actually caused that person called Ying to stumble. It seems that there are many unknowns that have yet to be discovered. Dongbua Shuiying became interested in this young master Xing Hua. Naturally, no one present could recognize Dongbua Shuiying's identity, because as the teacher of the convention, those with some background would know who the teacher of the convention would be. The moment he was recognized, it would be troublesome. Thus, Dongbua Shuiying had to change his appearance and conceal his aura while walking in the Blade Emperor's city. Blade Emperor's city, within one of the many cavern dwellings that were specially used to receive important guests. Father, Xing Hua Sun Yi returned to his cavern dwelling. A black-haired male was currently seated alone in the courtyard. He had a majestic figure. Even sitting there, he was taller than Xing Hua Sun Yi by a head. Just by emitting a small amount of aura, he was able to obstruct the operation laws of the sacred world. Wherever he was, the laws of the sacred world would have to retreat. Xing Hua Emperor was famous for being cold and tyrannical. But in front of his son, this coldness and tyranny was much weaker. Sun Yi, Xing Hua Emperor said, "You are the son of Xing Hua. This time, I have invited you to participate in the Star Convention. I hope that you will not embarrass me. Your big brother has already gotten through the 5th level Star Pagoda. I don't have a high requirement for you. Just get through the 3rd level Star Pagoda." "I can't do it," Xing Hua Sun Yi calmly said. "You can't even do this? I can give you any cultivation resources you want, yet you can't do it?" Xing Hua Emperor was slightly furious. "Unless you still haven't forgotten that illusory wife of yours." "How could I forget? How could I forget?" Xing Hua Sun Yi stared at his father. "I can't forget. If you feel that I will embarrass you, I can give up right now and not participate in the Star Convention." Xing Hua Emperor was stunned. He had no other choice. That was why he forced his son to participate in the Star Convention. He hoped that his son would try his best in this gathering where many experts would gather. "Go!" Xing Hua Emperor did not say anything else. Xing Hua Sun Yi turned around and left. Xing Hua Emperor sat there silently. He was filled with regret. He had 2 sons. His youngest son had an extremely high talent. Even though he cultivated the bloodline system, he had also cultivated the ancient cultivation system. His youngest son specialized in the illusory realm in the ancient cultivation system. Cultivating both great systems at the same time, the ancient cultivation system was only slightly slower than the bloodline cultivation system. He spent 300 million years to step into the void god realm, and that made Xing Hua Emperor ecstatic. The bloodline cultivation system depended on the father, but the ancient cultivation system had a high requirement on comprehension ability. Even though the father was formidable, and the children's comprehension ability would not be too bad, it still depended on the children themselves. But his son could become a void god in the illusory realm in 300 million years. He did not care about the price to find a precious treasure that could cultivate the illusory realm. It was worth a total of 10,000 Origin World rocks. It was called the Boundary Stone. The Boundary Stone would naturally produce an illusory realm within. Furthermore, it was an extremely exquisite illusory realm. The illusory realm formed would be different every time. Studying it would allow one to study all sorts of profound mysteries of the illusory realm. After his son obtained it, he would frequently send his consciousness into the boundary stone to experience many illusory realms. Those illusory realms were extremely mysterious. The internal law system was comparable to that of a miniature cosmos. Furthermore, it will be different every time. Hence, after cultivating for 6 billion years, his son Xing Huasun, he had reached the unity realm in the ancient cultivation system. But following that, something happened, the boundary stone. The illusory realm was too real. The worlds formed within were filled with countless life forms. They were just like the real world. They had spirituality, emotions, gratitude, and grudges. It was precisely because it was sufficiently real that the operating law of this illusory realm was comparable to that of a miniature cosmos. But his son, Xing Huasun, had fallen in love with a girl within the illusory realm. Even though he knew it was fake, Xing Huasun treated it as a child at the start. After all, he had experienced too many illusory realms and all sorts of emotions. This was also the reason why he was good at disguising. But even though he knew it was fake, as time passed, Xing Huasun, still fell into it. Because everything was too real. It had touched the inner heart of Xing Huasun. He fell into it. He did not wish for it to end. He had always been living with that girl in the illusory realm. They had even become Tao companions. He had even thought of ways to let his wife live longer. In the illusory realm, his wife had indeed become stronger and lived for a long time. But ultimately, it was just an illusory realm. This illusory realm would eventually collapse, and the boundary stone would automatically create a new illusory realm. No, when the illusory realm collapsed, when his wife disappeared in front of him. Even though he had told his wife everything in the end, and she understood that she was a part of the illusory realm, she had accepted it. But Xing Huasun, he could not accept it. The world in front of him collapsed. All living beings were destroyed. Even his wife was destroyed within. No. At that moment, Xing Huasun, he had gone completely mad. Chapter 924. AI. Seated in the courtyard, Xing Hua Emperor sighed. How good would it be if I did not give the boundary stone to Sun Yi in the past? This son of his was practically crippled. He had thought of many methods, yet they were all useless. Because the heart injury had seeped into the essence of his soul. Even after sealing his memories, his son, Xing Huasun, had a disgust towards cultivation from the depths of his soul. He was no longer willing to cultivate. He had even invited some primal chaos giants who specialized in the illusory realm to help him weave an illusory realm. It was futile to guide him through the illusory realm. If he wanted to cure the heart disease, he had to weave a similar illusory realm world. But other experts could not replicate the illusory realm world created by the boundary stone in the past. He had even asked several cosmos gods, yet the answer was the same. The heart injury had seeped into the essence of the soul, and it was too hard to recover. Like some transcendence, they would not be able to recover because of some huge setback. And Xing Huasun, he was a unity realm genius. He was too powerful, and he specialized in the illusory realm. Such an expert would not easily be affected in his heart. But the moment his heart was truly injured, it would be 1,000,000,000,000 times harder to recover. It could even be said that external force was useless. There was only one way, to rely on Xing Huasun himself. But how difficult was it to struggle out of this quagmire? I have always kept him by my side. Maybe I am wrong. I should borrow this star convention to let him go out and adventure. Who knows? There might be a miracle. Xing Hua Emperor thought. He was powerful, yet he could not do anything when facing his son. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the star convention. So. Dongboi Shui Ying, an inquisitive sky hall master, flew side by side in the sky of the city. Many figures could be seen flying in the same direction. Within the Blade Emperor's city, under the suppression of the unseen array, only those at the Unity realm could fly. The layout of the venue for the Star Convention is not bad. Dongboi Shui Ying, could already see the huge venue. This venue was located close to the Star Pagoda. Because the location of the Star Pagoda was fixed, the Blade Emperor City could only set up the venue in a relatively vast region. By controlling space, one could discover that the venue, which was 500 kilometers wide, had been forcefully twisted into a 500,000 kilometers wide venue as one flew closer. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master, Elder Dombois, please. An expert immediately led the way. After approaching the venue, most people were forced to land quickly and had to enter through the main entrance. As for Dombois, Shui, Ying, and Inquisitive Sky Palace Master, they were led to a towering platform in the distance. There were a total of 11 seats in the center of the platform and a large number of seats on both sides. Elder Dongbo, please. Everyone's seats were already reserved. There were 11 seats at the center of the high platform. Seated at the centermost seat was the host of the Star Convention this time, Heart Imitation Religious Master. There were only 2 9th-level Star Pagoda Primal Chaos experts in the entire Blade Emperor City, and Heart Imitation Religious Master was one of them. Actually, with his identity and status, it was rare for him to host the Star Convention that happened once every trillion years. Nonetheless, there was a 9th-level Star Pagoda Strength, General Hatchet Palace Master, amongst the teachers of the convention this time. Since General Hatchet Palace Master was here, as the host of this event, Saber Emperor City naturally couldn't lower their head. Hence, Heart Imitation Religious Master personally came to host this event. To the left of Heart Imitation Religious Master were the 5 teachers of the convention. They were General Hatchet Palace Master, Violet Slaughter Island Master, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, General Heavenlight, and Dombois Shuang. To the right of him were the primal chaos guests that came from the holy grounds like Inquisitive Sky Palace Master and the expert from the Star City. Other than the 11 seats at the center, there were some seats by the side for primal chaos giants that came from non-holy grounds. Even someone as powerful as Imperial Lord Xinghua, because he wasn't a member of a sacred land, was only able to sit at the side. This was the rule of the previous Star Convention. Only experts from the 6 great holy grounds could sit at the center. General Hatchet, who would have thought that you would come to be a teacher of the convention this time? Heart Imitation Religious Master chuckled. Heart Imitation Religious Master had a strange appearance. His face was thin and long, and his facial features were slightly ugly. But his aura was warm, and even those who were picky about appearances would feel joy from the bottom of their hearts when they saw him. It is time for me to come out and have a walk. I won't be able to find an opportunity to break through if I keep cultivating in closed-door cultivation. General Hatchet said, "This final step is indeed hard for me to take." Heart Imitation Religious Master shook his head. He was once an outstanding cultivator and was the most dazzling cultivator of an era. He was also one of the only 2 in the history of the 6 great holy grounds who had gotten through the 7th floor of Star Tower. He had also improved by leaps and bounds at the Primal Chaos realm. He was so confident that he even created a religion and spread his Tao wantonly. Countless cultivators worshipped him and obeyed his orders. Nevertheless, after reaching the pinnacle of the Primal Chaos realm, the 9th-level Star Pagoda, he stagnated here. Even though he knew that his attainments in certain aspects weren't any weaker than Cosmos gods, if he did not take that final step, there would ultimately be a qualitative difference between him and Cosmos gods. On the high platform of the Star Convention, the primal chaos giants were chatting in groups of 2s and 3s. The majority of them knew each other. As for Dombois Shuang, he sat by the side of the central host seat. He remained silent, because the person beside him was General Heavenlight. General Heavenlight's body was faintly covered in golden light. He was emitting a slight pressure that suppressed Dombois Shui Ying by the side. This caused Dombois Shui Ying's expression to change slightly. He isn't even restraining his pressure and is deliberately suppressing me? General Heavenlight was at the 8th level Star Pagoda strength. His pressure was relatively tyrannical. Dombois Shui Ying directly controlled his law domain to forcefully obstruct the other party's pressure. One was suppressing, and the other was resisting. The relationship between both parties became even stiffer. A brat at the Unity Realm thinks he is qualified to stand on the same level as us. General Heaven Light glanced at Dongbua Shui Ying from the corner of his eyes. He was too lazy to look at him anymore, and was even more too lazy to speak. He was famous for being tyrannical even amongst primal chaos giants. He would directly berate and suppress some of the weaker primal chaos giants, much less those at the Unity Realm. In his eyes, Unity Realm experts were ants. Even his own disciples from Blade Emperor City were trembling in fear when facing General Heaven Light. Who would have thought that a Unity Realm expert would stand on the same level as him? General Heaven Light felt slightly embarrassed. It's a pity that this was decided by the cosmos gods, and he could not do anything about it. But for him to welcome Dongbua Shuiying with a smile, that was impossible. Fellow cultivators. A warm voice reverberated across the entire venue, as if it was ringing in the soul of everyone. Heart Imitation Religious Master chuckled as he began explaining the origin of the Star Convention and the rules of it. The process of the Star Convention was simple. First was the primary selection. More than 16,000 talented cultivators participating in the Star Convention would attempt the Star Pagoda. According to their results, the treasure spirit of the Star Pagoda would judge and select the top 100 strongest cultivators. The treasure spirit was absolutely fair. It was still able to rank the cultivators based on their strength. And the teacher of the convention would have 1,000 years to observe these talented cultivators. These talented cultivators could also come and seek guidance from the teacher of the convention. During this 1,000 years, the teacher of the convention would observe them thoroughly before picking out those who were weaker but filled with potential. Each teacher would pick out 20 of them. There would be a total of 100 of them. Through the selection of the teachers and the Star Pagoda, a total of 200 would be chosen. These 200 cultivators were qualified to enter the holy ground. But under such circumstances, they were ordinary disciples. After the primary selection, these 200 cultivators would be provided with resources, absolute art scriptures, guidance from experts, and others. They would cultivate for 10,000 years. Naturally, they would cultivate in a place where time was accelerated. In reality, they would cultivate for a total of 1,000,000 years. Even though the time was short, if they did not have good resources or guidance in the past, and had sufficient accumulation, most would be able to improve in this 1,000,000 years. Whether they could improve or not would depend on their potential. After the primary selection, they would cultivate for 10,000 years. After cultivating, these 200 cultivators would battle, and the top 5 would be decided through battle. Furthermore, after the battle ended, they would have to attempt the Star Pagoda once again. According to their results in the Star Pagoda and their performance during the final battle, the teacher of the convention would have a total of 10,000 years to observe them and even personally guide them. After 10,000 years, the final decision would be made and another 5 would be chosen. A total of 10. These 10 were the most outstanding geniuses chosen by the convention. They would be bestowed with resources and would be nurtured by the holy ground. Furthermore, they could choose to join any holy ground. Finally, the 5 teachers of the convention would give a public lecture on the Tao to many cultivators. After all, this was a supreme convention where geniuses were chosen, and many cultivators would come spectate. This public lecture on the Tao was also a form of help to those loose cultivators. After the public lecture on the Tao, the entire convention came to an end. At the venue of the Star Convention, there were more than 16,000 talented cultivators below. They had rushed over from various sacred worlds and primal chaos void to participate in this Star Convention. Other than them, there were also a large number of cultivators spectating the convention. Just the residents of Blade Emperor City alone numbered in the billions. There are also those who specially rushed over. They were as dense as a sea, and they occupied 90% of the entire venue. Look, there's actually a Unity Realm cultivator up there. This is weird. They should all be primal chaos giants. Why is there a Unity Realm cultivator? Many cultivators spectating the convention looked at the high platform. On the platform, Dongbua Shui Ying's position was extremely conspicuous. I heard that there is a Unity Realm expert amongst the teachers of the convention this time. At that moment, some of the more well-informed people began speaking. Chapter 925. Unity Realm? Don't speak nonsense. I have seen many star conventions in the Blade Emperor's city, and every time, the teacher of the convention would be a primal chaos giant. Since when could a Unity Realm expert become a teacher of the convention? One has to know that those participating in the convention are all at the Unity Realm, and they are even geniuses. Letting a Unity Realm expert be their teacher? Right. I have never heard of it before. I have a regular customer in my restaurant who is a disciple of the Blade Emperor's city. He was the one who told me that the teacher of the convention this time is at the Unity Realm, and his name is Dongbua Shuang. He is from the Great Void Heaven Temple. The Great Void Heaven Temple's Dongbua Shuang? Various places began discussing. After all, they were ordinary cultivators. Their information was more isolated, and only those who had cultivated for a long time and were famous enough would know of it. For instance, Dongbua Shuang rose too quickly, and few of these ordinary cultivators knew of it. Only within the Blade Emperor's city, some of their good friends were disciples of the Blade Emperor's city. Only then would they understand the news. As they discussed 1 to 10 and 10 to 100, they gradually gained some understanding of it. I've heard that in the 6 great holy grounds, in this current era, this Elder Dongbua is considered the strongest Unity Realm expert and is qualified to be the teacher of the convention. The strongest Unity Realm expert of the 6 great holy grounds? So what? The teachers of the convention are usually primal chaos giants, and it is said that ordinary primal chaos giants are not qualified. Only the strongest are qualified. Isn't it a joke for a Unity Realm expert to take on the role? Can his foresight be compared to the other 4 teachers? It's slightly lacking. What's the point of us talking about it here? These ordinary cultivators were discussing. If one said that they were instinctively fearful of primal chaos giants, then they were not fearful of Unity Realm experts. After all, Unity Realm experts were quite common. Letting a Unity Realm expert take on the role of the teacher of the convention was something these ordinary cultivators were unconvinced of. The primary selection of the Star Convention soon began. Dongbua Shuang and the rest were all seated high up. There were also delicacies and good wine. As for the 16,000 genius cultivators below, they were all heading towards the Star Tower at the side of the venue in order to explore. The Star Pagoda would control the flow of time so that the battles could proceed faster. But even if it was accelerated by 100 times, only a few thousand cultivators would pass through in a single day. After all, they were thinking of ways to kill as many destruction devils as possible. Fortunately, they performed better in the Star Pagoda, allowing their rankings to be higher. First, the Firehorn Withered Tree. Second, Ka Senior. In the void next to the Star Tower, names appeared one by one. The list kept increasing, and the rankings kept changing. Clearly, the artifact spirit of the Star Tower was giving a new ranking based on every new cultivator who had passed the Star Tower. The rankings would definitely be made public. Firstly, it was fair. The second was to stimulate those genius cultivators. Thirdly, those at the bottom of the rankings also understood how far behind they were. After all, those who were qualified to come were all genius cultivators. In the past, they had seen very few geniuses, so they thought that they were extraordinary. The Star Convention this time would be a great stimulation for them. 5 days. The preliminaries, the Star Pagoda selection had ended. A detailed name list had been arranged. Amen? Dongbua Shuang looked up at the densely packed name list by the side of the Star Pagoda. The 3 brats I saw previously, the sons of Xinghua Emperor, their rankings are quite ordinary. That one called Fu Jun was ranked relatively high at the 126th rank, but he seemed to lack some luck. If he could kill his way into the top 100, he would be able to pass through the preliminaries without the teachers of the convention choosing him. And I Yin, ranked 1,932. Xinghua Sun Yi, ranked 3,663. Ranked over 3,000? Dongbua Shuang, he shook his head inwardly. That time, he coincidentally met 3 Unity Realm cultivators. He was most interested in that young Master Xinghua, though his ranking was too ordinary. His ranking is so low. The preliminaries only select 200 cultivators. The possibility of him passing through the preliminaries is negligible. The Star Pagoda would select 100, and the 5 teachers of the convention would select 100. There would only be a total of 200 cultivators. 3,663? Xinghua Emperor, who came to spectate from the high platform, frowned slightly. He sighed inwardly. This ranking was truly low. One had to know that those who came to participate were not disciples of the holy grounds. Most of them were rogue cultivators who roamed the world. There were very few who had a huge background. This son of his was considered to have good cultivation resources, yet he was only ranked this way. The son of Xinghua Emperor would only be evaluated lower when the teachers of the convention chose him. The Star Pagoda selection had ended. Countless ordinary cultivators who came to spectate began to leave. After all, the teacher selection would take 1,000 years, and cultivation would take another 10,000 years. In other words, the next public battle would be held 11,000 years later. On the high platform, one by one, they stood up and left. 5 teachers. Heart imitation religious master took the initiative to speak to the 5 teachers of the convention. The Star Pagoda selection has ended, and there is a ranking. In a while, their battle videos will be sent to you. You have to choose well. Your choice will determine the fate of these geniuses. Big Brother Heart imitation, rest assured. We will naturally be cautious and choose those with great potential. General Heaven Light said, Elder Donghua, don't throw the face of your great void heaven temple. 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor said coldly. 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor was draped in a black robe. He emitted a cold aura, and his voice was cold and sharp. General Hatchet Palace Master by the side was startled. The beautiful Violet Slaughter Island Master was also slightly startled. These words were truly overboard. Donghua Shui Ying's expression changed slightly. Honestly speaking, he originally had a good impression of 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor because the other party was a member of the Void God Temple. The Void Primogenitor was his teacher. It was fine if General Heaven Light did not treat him well, but this 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor spoke so viciously, and there was a group of primal chaos giants around. If he were to reveal his identity as a Void Walker, the attitude of 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor might change. But because Sacred Master had always wanted to chase after his teacher, Gucci Donghua Shui Ying would not deliberately reveal his identity as a Void Walker. There is no need for you to trouble 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor. Donghua Shui Ying said, since the various cosmos gods have chosen me, they naturally have their reasons. Humph! 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor snorted before turning around and leaving. Actually, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor's reputation outside was not bad. He could be considered as someone who hated evil like an enemy, though he was relatively cold. But being a void creature, he was used to the strong and the weak. In his opinion, the Unity Realm Donghua Shui Ying was not on the same level as them at the Primal Chaos Realm. He naturally did not like him, and was too lazy to give him any face. The various cosmos gods have chosen you. Don't disappoint them. General Heaven Light looked at Donghua Shui Ying with a smile that did not seem like one before leaving. Donghua Shui Ying did not say anything. Suddenly, he felt a hand landing on his shoulder. This startled Donghua Shui Ying. He immediately turned over. General Hatchet Palace Master was thin and white. Even though he had 2 fangs, it gave others the feeling that his body was weak. He chuckled. There are all kinds of tempers among cultivators. Don't mind the 2 of them too much. General Hatchet Palace Master. Donghua Shui Ying bowed. This was not the first time he met General Hatchet Palace Master. The other party was on the same level as Black Emperor and Primal Chaos Hall Master. Donghua Brat, I stand by your side too. The beautiful violet-robed Violet Slaughter Island Master chuckled. Her voice was melodious. I do not like that Heaven Light either. In the future, if you are stronger than him, you must teach him a good lesson and help me vent my anger. Hard imitation religious master was still present by the side. He felt slightly awkward when he heard that because General Heavenlight was from their Blade Emperor city. Fellow cultivators, let us go. Hard imitation religious master chuckled. At the same time, he gave a friendly smile to Dongbua Shuang. Chapter 926. Night. Dongbua Shuang sat alone in the courtyard. There were battle projections in front of him. They were the battle projections of those talented cultivators challenging the Star Pagoda. There were female attendants by the side, helping to boil and pour wine for him. He held the wine cup and lightly drank a mouthful. His body is quite strong. He should be from the strongest warrior system. Dongbua Shuang observed and evaluated in his heart. Being a teacher of the convention isn't an easy task. Just watching the battle images of more than 10,000 genius cultivators and analyzing and evaluating their strength was not easy, let alone considering their background, origins, and age. Even though most of them were instantly eliminated, there were still over 1,000 that needed to be carefully considered. They had their own cultivation experiences, different strengths, and different areas of expertise. This person actually only got through the first level of Star Pagoda. Too weak. Dongbua Shuang was instantly eliminated. Even if his cultivation conditions were bad, and he did not have any absolute art, as long as his comprehension ability was high enough, he should not be at the bottom of the first level after reaching the Unity Realm. This time, there were over 10,000 talented cultivators. There was one who got through the fourth level of Star Pagoda. His name was Tsang Xiong Tianyun. He cultivated for 1.2 trillion years and was purely a loose cultivator. He had never received guidance from any formidable experts. He had long attracted the attention of the 6 great holy grounds. After all, if not for the countless scriptures and resources provided by the Great Void Heaven Temple, Dongbua Shuang might not have such achievements, even if he cultivated for 1 trillion years. Of course, it was possible that his achievements were higher than Tsang Xiong Tianyun's. There were a total of 392 who got through the third level of Star Pagoda. There were a total of 4,018 who got through the second level of Star Pagoda. The remaining were all those who got through the first level of Star Pagoda. After all, they were at the Unity Realm, and it was impossible for them to not get through the first level. Elder. A guard walked in from outside the courtyard. He respectfully reported, Monarch Hidden Dragon is seeking an audience with you outside the residence. Hurry up and invite him in. Dongbua Shuang hurriedly said. He then reacted. He stood up and took the initiative to walk out. In his heart, he was muttering, this is the biggest problem in choosing talented cultivators. The 6 great sacred grounds were very cautious in accepting disciples, and there were too few of them. The Star Convention was a rare opportunity to enter the 6 great sacred grounds. Once they entered, even if they couldn't obtain any resources, it would still be an invisible, life-saving talisman. After all, once the enemy heard that they were disciples of the 6 great holy lands, they would be afraid. If their statuses were high enough, even cosmos gods would not easily kill them, much less primal chaos existences. As for the 5 teachers, what kind of status did General Hatchet Palace Master have? General Heaven Light, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, and Violet Slaughter Island Master were all extremely strong existences at the 8th level Star Pagoda Primal Chaos Realm. It was too difficult to seek their help. On the surface, Dongbua Shuang, who is only at the Unity Realm, seemed to be the easiest to defeat. I have long given the order to not meet any Unity Realm experts. Dongbua Shuang thought, but I can't possibly not meet Primal Chaos Realm experts. He could be considered the strongest Unity Realm expert in the 6 sacred grounds. The other Unity Realm experts were not to be seen because it was not targeted at an individual, but all Unity Realm experts. Those Unity Realm experts who wanted to see him would not be too angry. But it was different for Primal Chaos Giants. They were already giving a lot of face by personally paying a visit to a Unity expert. If they were to reject him, they would be going overboard. Fortunately, there are very few talented cultivators who have a Primal Chaos Realm Giant behind the back of the Star Convention. There are even fewer who came to visit me. I can count them with my fingers. Dongbua Shuang thought. It was still fine to deal with them, since there were few of them. At the entrance of the residence, there stood a seemingly wooden male. He seemed ordinary, and his aura was completely hidden. If one did not know him, one would not think that he was the famous monarch Hidden Dragon. Even though monarch Hidden Dragon did not rely on any sacred ground superpower, he had taken the initiative to head to the boundary of the void. He had killed many destruction devils and was extremely valiant, earning the admiration of many primal chaos realm giants. He was straightforward, loyal, and did not care about his life for a promise. Dongbua Shuang admired him a lot too. Monarch Hidden Dragon. Dongbua Shuang greeted. I have disturbed Elder by coming. Who would have thought that Elder would take the initiative to welcome me? Monarch Hidden Dragon chuckled. It is my honor for Monarch to come and meet me. How would I dare to slight you? Monarch, please. The other party was being courteous. Naturally, Dongbua Shuang would not put on airs. He welcomed Monarch Hidden Dragon into the cavern dwelling. The two of them sat down in the courtyard. A female attendant had prepared a wine set by the side and poured some good wine for Monarch Hidden Dragon. You can withdraw first, Dongbua Shuang ordered. Yes. The female attendant retreated. Monarch Hidden Dragon chuckled. I know Elder is very busy now. I shall not waste your time. I came here hoping for Elder to help me with something. He is here. Dongbua Shuang grumbled inwardly. Please say, Dongbua Shuang said. This time, there was indeed a disciple of Monarch Hidden Dragon who participated in the Star Convention. He was ranked over 600. It's just that he had cultivated for a long time, a total of 8 trillion years. Furthermore, he was personally taught by Monarch Hidden Dragon. Hence, those ranked in front were naturally more qualified to be chosen. He is called Chun Xiong. Monarch Hidden Dragon said. Ah, Dongbua Shuang was startled. Chun Xiong? This wasn't Monarch Hidden Dragon's disciple. It was another rogue cultivator without any background. He is the personal disciple of an old friend of mine. Monarch Hidden Dragon sighed. My old friend is only at the Unity Realm. This time, I brought my disciple here. When I saw this little fellow, Chun Xiong, I immediately recognized his relationship with my good friend. It's a pity that my good friend has already died. He was the disciple that my good friend took in before his death. When my good friend died, this little fellow had only just become a true god. After that, he relied on himself to cultivate until now. I have tested him before. His potential and comprehension are above that of my disciple. Hence, I shamelessly came here, hoping to give this little fellow a chance. Chun Xiong? Dongbua Shuang naturally remembered this little fellow. His ranking was very low. He was ranked 2001st. However, his cultivation time was extremely short. He had only cultivated for a mere 80 billion years. As a rogue cultivator, his cultivation time was not even 100 billion years. It was already very shocking. His cultivation time is very short. In this Star Convention, in terms of cultivation time, he is ranked second. Dongbua Shuang said, although his ranking is slightly lower, his potential is extremely high. Even if Monarch Hidden Dragon didn't look for me, the possibility of him being chosen by the 5 teachers of the convention is extremely high. I know. If his potential isn't enough, I wouldn't have come. Monarch Hidden Dragon said, I'm just afraid of an accident. After all, there are many geniuses this time around. I will study it carefully. If I can help, I will do my best. Dongbua Shuang didn't say anything definite. After all, he had not seen the majority of the battle recordings of these genius cultivators. All right, Monarch Hidden Dragon stood up and smiled. Then I shall not disturb you any further. Dongbua Shuang immediately sent Monarch Hidden Dragon off. Who, this Monarch Hidden Dragon sure is easy to talk to. After the other party left, Dongbua Shuang continued to watch the battle recordings in the courtyard. I thought that he would come to persuade me for his disciple. To think that he is actually the disciple of an old friend. Furthermore, he is someone with extremely high potential. Because a full 1,000 years had passed. Some of those who wanted to persuade Monarch Hidden Dragon were not in a rush. Instead, on the first day, Monarch Hidden Dragon visited 5 teachers of the convention, asking them to help him pay attention to Chun Xiong. And the last teacher he visited, General Hatchet Palace Master, said directly, "Haha, brother Hidden Dragon, rest assured, I will directly choose this brat Chun Xiong. This time, I took the initiative to become a teacher of the convention because I want to find 1 or 2 disciples. I quite like this brat Chun Xiong. If fate allows it, he might become my personal disciple." Monarch Hidden Dragon was instantly delighted. Haha, if I knew this would happen, I wouldn't need to look for the other 4 teachers of the convention. But after thinking about it, he discovered that Chun Xiong's battle style was indeed similar to General Hatchet Palace Master. You don't have to worry about Chun Xiong. It's just that your own disciple seems to have ordinary potential. General Hatchet Palace Master shook his head. How can all of them be amazing? Monarch Hidden Dragon did not seem to care. And in the following days, there were 2 consecutive primal chaos giants who came to visit Dongbua Shuang. It's just that the talented cultivators they wanted to ask for help were far inferior to Chun Xiong in terms of potential. Furthermore, according to the judgment of Dongbua Shuang, they could not even enter the top 300. Even though he had decided to exclude them in his heart, he did not say anything on the surface. Still, he did not agree to it. A month after the Star Convention was held, Elder Xinghua Emperor has come to visit. Even the Protector did not dare to say the words seeking an audience. Xinghua Emperor? Dongbua Shuang was greatly startled. This was in existence at the 9th level Star Pagoda strength, and even Cosmos gods had to treat him politely. Bitter. That son of his has cultivated for a longer period, yet his ranking is too low. Dongbua Shuang felt bitter in his heart. He already had a good impression of Xinghua Sun Yi before the convention. It's just that the other party's performance was too ordinary. In terms of potential, he was ranked outside the top 1,000. Chapter 9:27. Dongbua Shuang cried bitterly in his heart, but he still went to the entrance of the cave to welcome him. "Greetings, Emperor," Shuang added, but he was clear that it was not just him. Even Heaven Weeping Sect Master and the others had to be respectful when facing Monarch Xinghua, just like how he could easily slaughter many Unity Realm experts, even though the gap between the Primal Chaos Realm was not as exaggerated as Unity Realm. Although the gap between Primal Chaos Realm experts was not as wide as the gap between Unity Realm experts, Xinghua Emperor and Primal Chaos Hall Master could kill ordinary Primal Chaos Realm experts in a single move. Elder Dongbua, there's no need to be so courteous. It was rare for Xinghua Emperor to be so courteous. After all, he was famous for being cold and tyrannical. "Emperor, please." The 2 of them came to the courtyard and sat down. Xinghua Emperor said with a frown, "This time, I do have something to trouble Elder Dongbua." Dongbua Shuang muttered in his heart. What kind of identity did you, Xinghua Emperor, have? If he was truly willing to force his son into a holy ground superpower, be it the Great Void Heaven Temple, Primogenitor Island, Blade Emperor City, or any other holy ground superpower, they would all be willing to befriend Monarch Xinghua. Why did you need to participate in the Star Convention and ask for my help? The Star Convention was an open convention, and the name list he chose had to be made public. Xinghua Sun, he had cultivated for more than 500 billion years. He was ranked in the 3,600s, and he was the son of Xinghua Emperor. In terms of potential, he was unquestionably ranked outside the top 1,000. If it was strictly judged, he would be ranked outside the top 5,000. If his potential was ranked in the hundreds, it was fine if he was chosen. But for someone ranked outside the top 5,000, he would definitely be mocked if he was chosen. Dongbua Shuang was not willing to do that. "Because I am easiest to persuade among the 5 teachers." Dongbua Shuang felt helpless, but he could not be rude on the surface. "I hope that Elder Dongbua will not spread this matter. After all, it is a shameful matter," Xinghua Emperor said. Dongbua Shuang thought to himself, "So you also know that it's shameful and shameful?" He even told him not to spread the news. Once he made his choice, everyone would know. "Listen to me carefully," Xinghua Emperor said in a low voice. "My son, Sun Yi, besides the bloodline cultivation system, also cultivates ancient cultivation. After all, I am only at the primal chaos realm, and my son's bloodline cultivation system is at most at the unity realm. Thus, he is quite diligent in his ancient cultivation. In just 300 million years, he has reached the void god level in ancient cultivation. What? Dong Shuang was shocked. 300 million years? Even if he had a powerful master to guide him, this kind of speed was too terrifying. The golden-robed disciples of the Great Void Heaven Temple had been stuck at the True God ruler realm for a long time. Even though the laws and profound mysteries system was relatively harder, it was too heaven-defying for an ancient cultivator to reach the Void God realm in just 300 million years. I was incomparably excited at that time, thinking that it is possible for my son to reach the primal chaos realm in the future. Haha, for both father and son to reach the primal chaos realm, that would be a wonderful story. Xinghua Emperor gave a self-mocking laugh. At that time, I did not hesitate to exchange for treasures and obtain the unique treasure, the Boundary Stone. Boundary Stone? Dongbua Shuang felt his heart move. This was a supreme treasure for cultivating the illusory realm. He wanted to get it too, but firstly, the price of this unique treasure was ridiculously high. Secondly, it was unique. I forgot to tell you, my son specializes in the illusory realm in the ancient cultivation system. Xinghua Emperor began describing in detail. By relying on the Boundary Stone, his cultivation has indeed soared. In just a short 6 billion years, he had stepped into the unity realm in the ancient cultivation system. But Dongbua Shuang listened carefully. As he listened, he became dumbstruck. He actually fell in love with a girl from the illusory realm, and even fell into it, becoming Tao companions with her. Hearing Xinghua Emperor's description, Dongbua Shuang could imagine how Xinghua Sun was suffering when that girl knew she was a part of the illusory realm and calmly faced death. When the illusory realm collapsed, everything was crumbling. His true love was crumbling too. How mad would Xinghua Sun be? I've asked Cosmos gods before, and they all said that my son's heart injury has permeated into his soul. It is hard for external forces to save him, and he has to rely on himself. Xinghua Emperor said, I came to find Elder Dongbua. I know that you are the strongest genius in the illusory realm since the primitive ancient sacred world until now. Hence, I want to ask Elder Dongbua if you have any methods to save my son. He was the strongest genius in the illusory realm in the primitive ancient sacred world until now. What identity did Xinghua Emperor have? What he said was logical. Currently, those at the unity realm who could fight against Dongbua Shuang in the illusory realm could be counted with one's fingers. But the others were all ancient cultivators and relied on their talent. And before Dongbua Shuang got the Cinnabar inheritance, he merely cultivated in the laws and profound mystery system. He forcefully pushed the Tao of Mirage to this level. And after getting the Cinnabar inheritance, he easily improved on Cinnabar's inheritance. Was improving it easy? Not at all. Why could Dongbua Shuang do it? It was because the difficulty of reaching the 6th floor of Star Tower by relying on his talent in ancient cultivation was different from reaching the 6th level in the Tao of Mirage. The laws and profound mysteries system required one to research the essence of the system and grasp the operating laws and profound mysteries. Then by relying on the Tao of Mirage, one could create all sorts of absolute arts. But ancient cultivation was different. Ancient cultivation did not require one to comprehend it completely. As long as one could execute it, it would be a success. There was no need to delve into all the profound mysteries behind it. Hence, the laws and profound mysteries system and the hex cultivation system were famous for being hard to cultivate. But they were also famous for being powerful. Most Unity Realm experts of these two great systems would only reach the 3rd level Star Pagoda strength. Ancient cultivation relied more on talent and inheritance. Those who were heaven-defying were extremely heaven-defying, and those who were weak were very weak. Hence, in history, Dongbua Shuang was the only Unity Realm expert who could reach this stage in the illusory realm. He was the only one who had researched the laws and profound mysteries of the illusory realm. Furthermore, he cultivated for a very short period, just a few tens of billions of years. It was logical for Xinghua Emperor to say that he was the strongest genius in the illusory realm in the history of the primitive ancient sacred world. If he knew that Dongbua Shui Ying was close to stepping into the primal chaos realm in the Tao of Mirage, he would likely be more excited. Dongbua Shui Ying's attainments in the Tao of Mirage were clearly higher than what Xinghua Emperor knew. You are a cultivator of the laws and profound mysteries, and you specialize in the illusory realm. Xinghua Emperor looked at Dongbua Shui Ying. I'm just trying to find a doctor in a desperate situation. I have no other way. That is why I'm asking if Elder Dongbua has any ideas. Boundary Stone. Dongbua Shui Ying softly shook his head. How can you use it so casually? Even though you can research different illusory realm worlds, and you're also the master of the illusory realm world, and you can investigate the operation of everything, it will be helpful to your cultivation. But the stronger the illusory realm world, the more realistic it will be. And Xinghua Sun Yi's experience in the illusory realm is insufficient. Even though he can easily escape from the illusory realm as the master of the illusory realm, it will be bad if he falls into it. If it was an enemy, he would fall into the illusory realm forever, and his life and death would be controlled by others. But even if it was the master of the illusory realm, the moment he fell into it, it would have a huge impact on his soul. The strength of the soul was very mysterious. Reaching the level of an expert, once he thought he was dead, his soul would crumble and he would die. Emotions were hard to explain. If he really fell into it, if someone knew about it early on and forced him out, it might still be fine. But without anyone stopping him, Xinghua Sun Yi fell deeper and deeper. He even maintained it with his wife until the entire illusory realm entered the great apocalypse. I am too confident in my son, Xinghua Emperor regretted. It was because he knew too little about illusory realm cultivation. On the other hand, he was ruthless to himself. He felt that he had to be ruthless to his son if he wanted to have great accomplishments. Is there any way? Xinghua Emperor asked. There's no way. I've never faced such a situation before. Dongbua Shui Ying shook his head. He too had a Tao companion, and he could imagine how serious Xinghua Sun Yi's injuries were. It was already not bad that he did not go crazy. Let's try, Xinghua Emperor added. He had tried many times, and all the people he invited were extremely powerful existences. In his opinion, Dongbua Shui Ying was the strongest genius in history in the illusory realm. If he reached the primal chaos realm in the Tao of Mirage, he would be the only primal chaos realm giant in the laws and profound mystery system. He would have a deeper understanding of the illusory realm. Let's try. No matter what, you should meet him and see if there's any way. Xinghua Emperor said. Dongbua Shui Ying could only nod. What else could he do when the Xinghua Emperor made such a request for his son? All right, let Xinghua Sun Yi come over as soon as possible. I'll have a good chat with him. I'm not confident, but I'll definitely try my best. Dongbua Shui Ying said. I'll have to trouble you. Xinghua Emperor was extremely polite. He had long prepared himself. Even if Dongbua Shui Ying could not help him this time, in the future, when Dongbua Shui Ying reached a higher attainment in the Tao of Mirage, he would still have to ask him for help. Naturally, he had to maintain a good relationship with him. As for joining the Holy Grounds, Xinghua Emperor did not care about it. What he hoped to see the most was for his son to recover from his heart injury, be reborn, and soar into the sky. That day was something he wished to see even in his dreams. Chapter 928. Early the next morning, the sun rose. The rays of the sun shone through the arrays of the Saber Emperor city, turning even gentler as it shone on the countless buildings in the city. Sun Yi, just as he was prepared to leave the residence, he saw a majestic figure sitting in the courtyard. Xinghua Sun immediately greeted, Father. Xinghua Emperor said, I met Elder Dong Bo yesterday. His attainments in the Tao of Mirage are the highest in history among all the cultivators of the laws and profound mystery system. When he cultivates the dark world and the Cinnabar inheritance, he can push his strength to the level of the 6th floor of Star Tower. Cinnabar's inheritance was originally at the peak of the Unity realm, but he can improve it himself. He's already half a foot into the 7th floor of Star Tower, and he's only been cultivating for tens of billions of years. From the primitive ancient sacred world until now, he's definitely the most incredible genius in the field of illusions. Go find him. He might have a way to help you. Xing Hua Emperor said. He helped me? Xing Hua Suni frowned. I've seen primal chaos giants who specialize in the illusory realm before, yet none of them could do anything. Does Dongbua, Shui, Ying have a solution? Previously, those primal chaos giants who specialized in the illusory realm were all ancient cultivators. Xing Hua Emperor said coldly. The ancient cultivation system is completely different from the system of laws and profound mysteries. For the ancient cultivation system, as long as one can display sufficient power, it can be considered a success. The laws and profound mystery system, on the other hand, focuses on researching the profound mysteries behind it. They have truly grasped the most fundamental profound mysteries, and their understanding of illusions is deeper. Xing Hua Sun, he was stunned. He then nodded slightly. He agreed with that. Different systems indeed led to different directions. For example, the Devour class system did not need to use its brain at all in the early stages. It only needed to eat, and its strength would continue to increase. As for the laws and profound mystery system at the transcendent stage, one needed to study the profound mysteries of the world. One had to grasp the complete laws of the world before they could transcend and step into the true God stage. He had to grasp the complete law system before he could become a void god. Similarly, the difficulty of becoming a void god in the laws and profound mysteries system was many times higher than the Devour class system. Even the witchcraft cultivation system, which was also extremely difficult, belonged to two different directions compared to the laws and profound mysteries system. The laws and profound mysteries system pointed directly at the essence, delving into the core of the world, the laws and profound mysteries. Witchcraft cultivators, on the other hand, felt that they could find the essence of the world from all things. As the world evolved, many rules were reflected in all things. They felt that the system of laws and profound mysteries was too abstract, and that studying all things was a down-to-earth way of accumulating knowledge step by step. Once they had accumulated enough knowledge, they could make their bodies stronger, their souls more powerful, and they could even reach an extremely high realm in formations and refining treasures. All right, I'll go. Xing Hua Sun, he answered. Although he couldn't forget it, he knew in his heart that it was just an illusory world. He should be excited and cultivate to become stronger. But now, he was instinctively filled with disgust towards cultivation. Whenever he tried to cultivate, he would think of cultivating in the illusory world and his wife who was destroyed along with him when the illusory world collapsed. This kind of heartache made him loathe everything related to the illusory world. This was already an instinct that he couldn't control. Don't be negligent, the Xing Hua Emperor said. Even if he can't help you this time, as the one with the highest attainments in the Tao of Mirage, as his cultivation improves, he might be able to help you in the future. Amen. Xing Hua Sun, he walked out. When Xing Hua Sun, he went to seek an audience, Dongbua Shuang had already gone out to eat delicacies. There were many restaurants in Blade Emperor City, and those ancient cultivators who were talented in culinary arts could cook delicacies that could even make a great expert like Dongbua Shui Ingsai in admiration. Naturally, he would go there frequently to taste their delicacies. Dongbua Shui Ing immediately saw the golden-robed young man who was waiting silently at the entrance of the mansion. As the teachers of the convention, it was very common for geniuses to seek an audience and guidance. Usually, the teachers of the convention wouldn't reject them. Borrowing the guidance, they could also better observe the geniuses. But why was Xing Hua Sun paying a visit? Greetings, elder. The golden-robed young man immediately bowed respectfully. Xing Hua's son, come in. Donghua Shuiying smiled. Yes. The golden-robed young man was obedient and polite. Nothing could be seen on his face. After the two entered the cavern dwelling, Donghua Shuiying sat down in the courtyard, while Xing Hua's son obediently stood by the side. Your father has already told me about you. Donghua Shuiying said directly. Elder, do you have any ideas? Xing Hua's son looked at Donghua Shuiying. Let's give it a try. Donghua Shuiying smiled. Xing Hua's son felt that Donghua Shuiying's smile was magnified in front of his eyes, and following that, he became completely lost. When he entered the world of the Boundary Stone, he was the master of the illusory realm. That was why he could maintain his consciousness. But now that Donghua Shuiying had unleashed his illusory realm, Xing Hua's son instantly lost himself. Let's see if I can borrow the illusory realm to change him. Donghua Shuiying thought. Even though other primal chaos giants who specialize in illusory realms had acted before, those primal chaos giants are all ancient cultivators. Their control over illusory realms isn't as detailed as mine. He was also an ancient cultivator. For instance, the illusory realm within the Cinnabar inheritance had long been fixed. That was why he could continuously attack it. But his control over it was slightly lacking. Donghua Shuiying sat there tasting his fruit wine. By the side, Xing Hua's son sat there in a daze. He was completely immersed in the illusory realm. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours passed. 2 hours had passed in the real world. But in the illusory realm, Donghua Shuiying had made him experience a total of 1,000 reincarnations, of which a few hundred of them were related to emotions, the righteousness of the nation and the race, the relationship between his teacher and his parents. All sorts of shocking emotions had affected him. Xing Hua's son Yi's eyes gradually regained clarity. Are you feeling better? Donghua Shuiying asked. Elder's techniques are indeed formidable. Xing Hua's son lightly shook his head. In the illusory realm, I have forgotten about the past. That is a brand new experience, just like a dream. After having 1,000 dreams, I woke up from the dream. When I met my wife, I experienced everything under my absolute consciousness. Every single scene had been carved into my soul with a blade. Donghua Shuiying's expression changed slightly. That's right. Forgetting about the past within the illusory realm was indeed like a dream. When one woke up, the memories from the dream would impact his memories. Naturally, the impact was far from what he experienced under his absolute consciousness. I know that everything that happened between me and my wife happened in the illusory realm. I also feel that it is a joke. There have even been experts who helped me seal my memories. I would rather seal them completely, but it's useless. Memories can be sealed, but the influence of emotions on the soul can't be changed. I still hate cultivation. Even cosmos gods said that it is better for me to recover my memories. Only when I face this period of experience will my body transform. Only then would it be considered a success. Xing Hua's son Yi's voice was gentle. A smile appeared on his face. It was a gentle smile. Even though others might find it a joke, the time I spent with my wife in the illusory realm is the most beautiful time of my life. I can't forget it. My rationality told me that I should not be affected. I have also promised my wife not to be troubled by her. I want to be motivated and properly cultivate. Xing Hua's son shook his head. It's useless. Everything is useless. Donghua Shuiying looked at the young man in front of him from the side. This young man had a great talent, yet he had to suffer from this calamity. Truth and false, false and true. Donghua Shuiying chuckled. We think that everything in the illusory realm is fake. But what exactly is real? The beings in the illusory realm have their parents and loved ones, race and nation. They have love and hate, and they know how to cultivate to themselves. They think that they are real, right? Xing Hua's son, he was stunned, right? Only when he told his wife everything, and how he used his identity as the master of the illusory realm to control the illusory realm did his wife believe that this vast world was an illusory realm, and she was part of the illusory realm. And before this, all beings in the illusory realm were evolving normally. The weak would grow old and die, and the strong would cultivate and battle. They are independent living beings with memories and emotions. Donghua Shuang said, actually, they can be considered unique, true beings, just that they live in the illusory realm. True, true. Xinghua's son Yi's eyes brightened. His face turned slightly red. My wife is a true living being? Including his father and the other primal chaos giants who specialized in illusory realm. None had mentioned this point. Xinghua's son, he also thought that it was an illusory realm. Life. What is a true life? They are independent beings with memories, emotions, gratitude, and hatred. Are they not true living beings? Donghua Shuang said, unless they must have a soul, like the metallic life forms and other unique life forms. They do not have a soul. They have other life cores. And your wife is the spiritual light that they form in the illusory realm. That is their life core. Only with a life core could one have independent memories, emotions, and even cultivate. Ordinary illusory realms were naturally not that formidable. The illusory realm created by the boundary stone was much more profound than what Donghua Shuang had. Its internal operating laws were at the level of a miniature cosmos, and it was just a step away from a true cosmos. Many living beings were born within, and all of them were incomparably real. That's right. They have a life core and are independent. They have memories, emotions, gratitude, and hatred. They can cultivate. Right? They're all true living beings. Xinghua's son nodded. His voice was slightly trembling. My wife is real. She truly exists. Chapter 929. Now that he felt that his wife was real, Xinghua's son, he became much more excited. Donghua Shuang continued. Once the Tao of Mirage reaches the primal chaos level, the illusory realm world that one can unleash is comparable to the inner world of the boundary stone. Reaching the cosmos god level, he could even unleash the mirage cosmos. The illusory universe would turn into a real universe. What if I take a step further and my Tao of Mirage reaches an even higher level? An even higher level? Xinghua's son, he was puzzled. Weren't cosmos gods the final realm existences? In my laws and profound mystery system, the true ultimate goal isn't the cosmos god realm. Instead, it is the supreme operating law. Donghua Shuang said. This was something he gradually understood after reaching a higher realm. The goal of the laws and profound mystery system was to pry into the essence of the world and grasp the operating laws. The supreme rule was the ultimate goal. Were the laws of the universe supreme? No. The laws of the primitive ancient sacred world were the supreme laws, which are the primal chaos void laws of today. The primal chaos void contained countless universes, primal chaos lands, and the 5 great sacred worlds. The 5 great sacred worlds might sound nice, but in reality, other than the ancient sacred world, which was a remnant piece of approximately 1% of the original ancient sacred world, the other 4 great sacred worlds were created by cosmos gods. The operating laws could not be compared to the primal chaos void laws. Becoming a cosmos god was the final stage of many systems and was also publicly acknowledged as the final existence. However, the laws and profound mysteries system targeted the supreme law, the primal chaos void law. For example, the witchcraft cultivation system was also a system that studied the core essence of all things. For example, Wu Zhu had reached his current realm, but he was still studying it. Supreme operating laws? Xinghua's son, he was slightly shocked. Cosmos gods merely grasped the operating laws of the cosmos. How can they compare with the primal chaos void law? Shuang said, this is the true supreme operating law that encompasses everything. If the operating law of the Tao of Mirage reaches the supreme level, I'm afraid he'll be able to control the entire primal chaos void. At that time, as the controller of the supreme laws, he'll be able to create everything in the primal chaos void. Donghua Shuang smiled. It's not impossible to turn illusions into reality and bring your wife back to life. Yes, 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 yes. Xinghua Sun Yi's eyes completely lit up. What kind of realm was that? The operating laws of the Tao of Mirage had reached the highest level. Such a Mirage world was actually already at the level of the primitive ancient sacred world, primal chaos void. As the owner, a single thought could create everything within it, and everything that was born within it would also be an absolutely real existence. Actually, Donghua Shuang chuckled. With a flick of his finger, an illusory world appeared before him. Gold, silver, stones, soil, and other common objects began to form within it. Following that, these items began to turn from illusory to real. Gold, silver, stones, soil, and other objects also appeared. Turning illusions into reality isn't difficult for me at my current level. Donghua Shuang said. It's just that reincarnation requires a higher realm. Who knows, it might be possible to achieve it after reaching the cosmos god level in the Tao of Mirage. Amen, amen. Xinghua Sun nodded. His eyes were shining. He felt his entire body heating up and his soul burning. Agitated, surging, with a soaring, fighting spirit. In the past, he wanted to suppress this heart-wrenching memory and cheer himself up. However, this was his incomparably beautiful and unforgettable memory. Now, he felt that his wife was real. No matter how others saw it, at least under Donghua Shui Ying's theory, Xinghua Sun, he felt that his wife could be considered a real life. Furthermore, he even saw hope. Perhaps once his Tao of Mirage reached the cosmos god level, he might be able to turn illusions into reality, allowing his wife to reincarnate. Put on. Xinghua Sun immediately knelt down. Many thanks for Elder Donghwa's guidance. I do hope for Elder to accept me as your disciple and impart the cultivation technique of the Tao of Mirage to me. He understood that a pure ancient cultivator would not have a deep understanding of the illusory realm laws. Only those who focused on the essence of the Tao of Mirage would be confident of achieving what he wanted. As for the Tao of Mirage, it was naturally Donghua Shuang who had the highest attainments in the Tao of Mirage in the history of the laws and profound mystery system. He was most suitable to be his teacher. It is still too early for you to become my disciple. Donghua Shuang chuckled. Flipping his hand, he brought out a translucent golden book and passed it to Xinghua Sun. This is an absolute art I created for the Tao of Mirage. But currently, there are only the first 3 styles. You should cultivate it first and see your potential before I decide whether to accept you as my disciple. Experts in the Great Void Heaven Temple would usually create their own absolute arts and leave them in the Myriad Elephant Palace Hall. As Donghua Shuang cultivated, he gradually had this incomplete absolute art Mirage. Mirage, first style, World Prison. It was possible to cultivate it at the Void Origin Birth Realm, though it was very difficult. It had the power of the 3rd level Star Pagoda. Second style, Illusory Shadow Annihilation. It had the power of the 4th level Star Pagoda and could only be cultivated at the Unity Realm. Third style, Dark Bubble. It had the power of the 5th level Star Pagoda. It was also a move created by Dark World Master. Donghua Shuang had merely modified and simplified it slightly. Donghua Shuang felt that this move was not bad. As for the stronger Sky Punishment Edge, he was not satisfied with it, because this move could be dodged by the enemies. But the Dark Bubble would descend and envelop the enemies, making it impossible for them to dodge. Thus, he was trying to create a move that could reach the power of the 6th floor of Star Tower, one that the enemies could not dodge at all. The multi-layered Dark World could barely do it, but it consumed too much heart energy. Donghua Shuang was not satisfied with it. Thank you, Elder. After learning this absolute art, Xinghua Sun was filled with gratitude. When you cultivate the Tao of Mirage, you must not neglect your original ancient cultivation. Donghua Shuang said, the ancient cultivation is powerful, and you can rely on it to understand the laws. It has the effect of complementing each other. Can I seek guidance from Elder if I encounter a problem? Xinghua Sun asked. Of course you can. Every genius cultivator in this star convention can. Dongbua Shuang said. Xing Huisun, he felt helpless at that moment. He understood. The moment the convention ended, Dongbua Shuang would naturally have his own matters to deal with. It would be troublesome to seek guidance from him. Then how much potential do I have for Elder to be satisfied and be willing to take me in as a disciple? Xing Huisun, he asked. A good master could greatly increase one's cultivation speed. This star convention will be able to see your potential. Dongbua Shuang smiled. Xing Huisun, he understood and immediately bowed respectfully. Then this junior shall take his leave. Go. Dongbua Shuang nodded. Xing Huisun, he bowed and left. Dongbua Shuang watched as this golden-robed young man left. He could feel that Xing Huisun, he was burning with fighting spirit. His heart was deeply hurt, but at this moment his fighting spirit was burning crazily. If he's not bad, I can take him in as a disciple. Dongbua Shuang smiled. I truly did not expect that his fighting spirit would be reignited this time. Experts who stood at the higher echelons of the laws and profound mysteries system vaguely understood that the supreme operating law was their ultimate goal. Dongbua Shuang specialized in the Tao of Mirage. Naturally, he had thought about it before. How powerful would it be if the Tao of Mirage reached the supreme level? It would not be hard for it to revive a life. Because he had thought about it before, he naturally mentioned this point. Even though Xing Huisun, he had met other primal chaos giants who specialized in illusory realm before. They were all ancient cultivators and did not have the same thoughts as Dongbua Shuang. Naturally, he would not mention this. Xing Hua Emperor sat by himself in the courtyard of his residence. He felt depressed in his heart. He was waiting for his son to return from Dongbua Shuang. However, he didn't have much hope, because he was clear that his son's problem required him to change himself from the depths of his heart. It was too difficult for others to help him. He's here. Xing Hua Emperor sensed that his son had returned. He turned around and saw a golden-robed young man walking into the courtyard. His father was still sitting at the same position as in the morning. Amen. Xing Hua Emperor was startled. He could feel it. It was no longer the same. Even though the past Xing Huisun, he remained calm, and it was hard to discern his actual state, he was too reserved. And at this moment, Xing Huisun's eyes were bright. His sharpness and fighting spirit could be felt by anyone. You? Xing Hua Emperor was in slight disbelief. Father, help me find a cultivation ground that can accelerate time. Xing Huisun, he said, I have to grasp the time to cultivate. He had to be fast. He had to raise his strength as soon as possible so that Elder Dongbua could see his potential and accept him as a disciple. He had to reach an extremely high attainment in the Tao of Mirage. Cultivation ground? Xing Hua Emperor's mouth was agape. How long had it been? It was fine that he took the initiative to cultivate, but he even wanted time to accelerate? Quick, there's no time to waste. Xing Huisun, he urged. Chapter 930. Many cultivators in the entire Blade Emperor city were paying attention to the Star Convention. Being the teacher of the convention, Dongbua Shuang was relatively busy. Even though the number of primal chaos giants who came to visit could be counted with one's fingers, there were too many genius cultivators. I hope for Senior Dongbua to guide me. A black-robed old man respectfully said. There were still remnants of a savage ripple in the surroundings. Dongbua Shuang sat there. He placed down the wine cup in his hand. The female attendant by the side immediately poured the wine for him stealthily. The fragrance of the wine permeated the air, even though it is one's weakness that determines one's life and death during a battle. Dongbua Shuang chuckled. It is right that you wish to make up for your weakness, but you're currently at the second level Star Pagoda strength and is still relatively weak. You should spend more effort on the techniques you specialize in and make them stronger. When you have an overwhelming advantage in a certain aspect, you can similarly suppress your opponents. Dongbua Shuang said. Yes, this junior understands. The black-robed old man answered. The age of a cultivator could not be judged from his appearance. Just like when a transcendent cultivated at a slower speed, causing his appearance to be older. But after becoming a deity or world deity, he would continue to rise. This was something that was very common. This old man in front of him was indeed one of the genius cultivators participating in this convention. He had cultivated for just over 200 billion years and was considered relatively young. Then is it possible for this junior to be chosen by senior? The black-robed old man could not help but ask. You have cultivated for a relatively short period and are a loose cultivator. Hence, you do not have a good teacher to guide you. Dongbua Shui Ying chuckled. The only flaw is that your ranking this time is slightly lower. You are ranked at the 3,000th rank. If you could be in the top 1,000, your chances of being chosen would be much higher. Properly cultivate and make the best use of your time to break through in this 1,000 years. Even if I don't choose you, I believe other teachers would. All right, go. Yes. The black-robed old man obediently bowed. He did not dare to be disrespectful and left. Elder, these cultivators frequently come to seek an audience with you. There is no need for Elder to meet them immediately. It's not a big deal to let them wait for half a day. I've heard that the teachers of other conventions often wait outside for several days if they want to seek guidance. These 1,000 years are very important to them. Most of them are quite talented, but they lack guidance. With guidance, there might be a change within 1,000 years. If there's an obvious increase in their strength, they'll have a chance to be chosen. Dongbua Shuang said. There's no need to waste their time. Without sufficient insight, it would be difficult for one to see through the other party's actual situation, and it would be even more difficult for one to give good guidance. Even General Heaven Light, Five-Luster Serpent Ancestor, and Violet Slaughter Island Lord might not be able to match up to Dongbua Shui Ying's understanding of the Unity Realm. Years passed by. Those talented cultivators were originally unconvinced with Dongbua Shui Ying in their hearts. We are also at the Unity Realm. Even though he is stronger than us, he is still at the Unity Realm. How can he be a teacher of the convention? But after the majority of them went to seek guidance, they discovered that Dongbua Shui Ying's attitude was clearly better, causing many of them to have a good impression of him. But there were also cultivators who were mumbling inwardly, he is ultimately at the Unity Realm. The other 4 teachers of the convention are all Primal Chaos Realm giants. Their statuses are different, and it is natural for his attitude to be better. Cultivators had different personalities. There were also some who were violent, twisted, and extremely selfish. In the blink of an eye, 300 years passed. Dongbua Shui Ying had a more detailed judgment of the potential of this batch of talented cultivators. But he would only choose at the final moment, because at that time, the 5 teachers of the convention would provide him with a name list. If the name list of others overlapped with his, he would naturally choose someone else. On this day, the sun was setting in the west. Dongbua Shui Ying sat cross-legged by the side of the lake within his cavern dwelling. He was meditating silently. In his mind, he was deducing the technique he wanted to fuse the Tao of Mirage and Tao of Slaughter together. With his pride, he still wanted to reach the 7th level strength at the Unity Realm. Challenging the final limit at every level would be of great help to the accumulation of his foundation. One's comprehension ability was not fixed the moment one was born. Instead, it would change over time. If he could get through the 7th level of the Unity Realm, it would be easy for him to step into the 8th level after reaching the Primal Chaos Realm. The 9th level was not too far away either. This was the improvement of one's comprehension ability. Like Sword Master, why was he so heaven-defying? It was because he did not have any good guidance in his hometown cosmos. He had to rely on himself to comprehend. This was also forcing him to temper himself. After forcefully cultivating to the Primal Chaos Realm, his foundation was incredibly thick. After entering the Great Void Heaven Temple, he read through many books and absorbed the wisdom of the seniors. Naturally, he broke through to the Cosmos God Realm. Currently, Dongbua Shui Ying had good guidance and many absolute arts. He even had the stone mirror and other treasures. Naturally, he would have higher expectations of himself. Muddling along would only make him fade into the masses. Elder, Xing Huisun, seeks an audience. The protector came over and respectfully reported. Let him in, Dongbua Shui Ying ordered. Very soon, A golden-robed young man walked in. He was in high spirits and was entirely different from the first time they met. "Greetings, elder." Xing Huasun bowed respectfully. He was filled with admiration and gratefulness from the bottom of his heart. "I thought that after you left the previous time, you would come and seek my guidance. Who would have thought that you would be gone for 300 years this time?" Dongbua Shuang chuckled. "My father once said that if I were to ask my teacher for everything in cultivation, then in the future when my teacher could no longer guide me, I would have to rely on myself. By then, it would be hard for me to break through. Thus, even if I met with some problems, I would have to rely on myself to solve them." Xing Huasun said. Dongbua Shuang revealed a smile. "For instance, when the great Void Heaven Temple taught disciples, the seniors would write down their comprehensions and place them in the Myriad Elephant Palace, allowing the juniors to read and comprehend by themselves. The path they walked would all depend on the disciples themselves. Asking their teacher for help whenever they met with a problem would indeed not have a bright future. Junior has some gains in cultivating the Tao of Mirage. Elder, please guide me." Xing Huasun pointed slightly with his finger. An illusory world appeared by the side. Then, the illusory world descended into reality, causing the surrounding heaven and earth energy to surge. Furthermore, it rapidly shrunk into a ball. Dongbua Shuiying's pupil shrank. He could not help but say, "World Prison, you've cultivated the World Prison? Your Tao of Mirage has reached the origin birth realm?" Dongbua Shuiying was shocked. How long had it been? Just 300 years. Xing Huasun revealed a smile and nodded. "After Junior returned, I started researching the laws and profound mystery system, the Tao of Mirage. With the absolute art Senior gave me, in addition to my deep accumulation in the illusory realm, I've reached the unity realm in the ancient cultivation lineage. Furthermore, my father gave me a cultivation aid, which allowed me to cultivate to this stage. But 300 years, Dongbua Shuiying still did not dare to believe it. Oh, I've been cultivating in the Tower of Time in Blade Imperial City. In reality, I've already cultivated for 3 million years." Xing Huasun said. Only then did Dongbua Shuiying understand. That should be enough. For someone who had never cultivated the Tao of Mirage, even if he had deep accumulation in the ancient cultivation of illusory realms, the laws and profound mystery system would allow him to grasp the Mirage more thoroughly. Even if he had reached the void origin birth realm, it was still an inconceivable matter in a short 300 years. If it was 3 million years, that would be more or less the case. Dongbua Shuiying felt that it was more or less the case. If this were to spread to the outside world, it would still shock many cultivators. Because cultivating the ancient cultivation illusory realm in the Tao of Mirage was easy because the ancient cultivation illusory realm itself did not require a deep understanding of the illusory realm. On the other hand, cultivating the ancient cultivation illusory realm before cultivating the Tao of Mirage would make it hard for the cultivator to have a huge breakthrough in the Tao of Mirage. 3 million years. Dongbua Shuiying felt that it was normal because his cultivation speed was extremely fast. Compared to him, Dongbua Shuiying, Xing Huasun, he had cultivation aid and ancient cultivation aid. He felt that it was still acceptable for him to reach this stage in 3 million years. But compared to the cultivators in the outside world, it was shocking. After all, it had only been a few million years, and his strength had reached the 3rd-level Star Pagoda from the 2nd-level Star Pagoda realm. Grasping the world prison with the Tao of Mirage at the origin birth realm is extremely difficult. Xing Huasun, said, "I've comprehended many structures of the illusory realm world within the boundary stone in the past. That's how I barely managed to do it. But the second style, illusory annihilation, requires the cultivator to reach the unity realm in the Tao of Mirage. But I feel that it is much more difficult. There are many perplexities that I can't comprehend no matter what." Dongbua Shuiying chuckled. He still thought that this brat could reach the unity realm in the Tao of Mirage with just that bit of ancient cultivation experience. "Speak," Dongbua Shuiying said. Xing Huasun nodded. He then continued practicing and asking questions. Many illusory worlds appeared around him. Dongbua Shueing casually guided Xing Huasun Yi as he listened. Every single time, Xing Huasun Yi would point out the essence of what he was not good at. He could only rely on his experience and the books he read in the myriad Elephant Palace Hall to guide him. As for the Tao of Mirage, Tao of Slaughter, Tao of Ripple, and the void that he specialized in, Dongbua Shueing had it at his fingertips. Xing Huasun Yi's eyes lit up when he heard that. He was so excited that he was beaming with joy. After all, some of the things that had troubled him for a long time had been explained clearly by Dongbua Shueing using some ingenious methods. Dongbua Shueing had even pointed out many directions for him. This time, the guidance continued for a total of 10 days. Beside the lake, Dongbua Shueing was still sitting cross-legged there. The night had passed, and the sun had risen. Many thanks for Elder's guidance. Xing Huasun Yi was grateful and respectful. Your comprehension is not bad. Dongbua Shueing smiled. No wonder this Xing Huasun Yi could improve so quickly in the ancient cultivation illusory realm. He was indeed someone with extremely high comprehension. He was definitely the one with the highest comprehension amongst all the genius cultivators that Dongbua Shueing had guided. Then, can this junior take Elder as my master now? Xing Huasun Yi could not help but ask. It's still early. Let's talk about it after the Star Convention ends. Dongbua Shueing said. Xing Huasun Yi was slightly disappointed, but he still said respectfully, this junior will go back and cultivate first. During the past 10 days of Elder's guidance, this junior has to go back and cultivate properly. Go, Dongbua Shueing said. Xing Huasun Yi obediently bowed and left. And as Dongbua Shueing watched, as Xing Huasun Yi left, he thought, he currently has the strength of a third-level Star Pagoda expert. In the future, he should be able to improve further. Amongst the cultivators of the Star Convention, his comprehension ability is definitely one of the best. I should be able to leave a spot for him in my name list. He was quite fond of Xing Huasun because the other party specialized in the Tao of Mirage that Dongbua Shueing, was most proud of. It was not easy to meet a talent that was suitable to inherit his absolute art. Chapter 9:31. As the 1,000-year deadline approached, Dongbua Shueing became more leisurely. Almost all the talented cultivators had come here before, and there was no need for them to come a second time before their strength improved significantly. On this day, a thin man walked to the entrance of Dongbua Shueing's cavern dwelling. The faint aura he emitted had startled the two protectors. Even though this aura was emitted slightly, the moment they came in contact with it, they felt an overwhelming killing aura assaulting their souls, causing the protectors to tremble in fear. They had seen too many Unity Realm experts and understood that this person in front of them was much stronger than them. He should be a primal Chaos Realm giant. At that moment, none of them dared to be disrespectful. Go tell Elder Dongbua that Bai Yun is here to visit, the thin man said coldly. Yes, senior, please wait for a moment. The protector immediately went in to pass the message. Brother Bai Yun? Dongbua Shueing took the initiative to welcome him warmly. The thin man was no longer cold. Instead, he revealed a smile. Ha, Brother Dongbua, I know you are busy. That is why I came to visit you now. If Brother Bai Yun wants to see me, you can naturally do so anytime. Come, please come in. Dongbua Shueing was much more polite. There was a reason for him to be polite. Even though this Bai Yun Palace Master was a primal Chaos Realm giant, according to the intelligence, he was barely at the strength of the 7th floor of Star Tower. This strength was only slightly stronger than him. The reason why Dongbua Shueing was so polite was because Bai Yun Palace Master was the only disciple of the Black Emperor. Black Emperor had imparted his Tao to him. The two of them sat down. Dongbua Shueing also took out his treasured wine and personally poured it for Bai Yun. Brother Bai Yun, why did you come to see me? Dongbua Shueing chuckled. If there is anything, just say it. Haha, I came because of this Star Convention. Bai Yun Palace Master said. I have a junior who participated in the Star Convention. His strength isn't bad, and he is ranked in the top 500. However, he isn't confident that he will be chosen in the end. Therefore, he came to seek my help. I also like this kid, so I especially came to seek Brother Dongbo's help. Hearing that he was ranked in the top 500, Dongbo Shui Ying heaved a sigh of relief. It wasn't that he didn't know how to be flexible. As long as the other party's potential was high enough, in a situation where he could choose or not, it wouldn't matter if Bayun Palace Master personally interceded for him. After all, choosing juniors with potential. This was the inner judgment of the teachers of the convention. Each of them had different experiences, so their judgment of the potential of the younger generation was different. For example, if Dongbo Shui Ying judged a junior's potential to be around 150, General Tingwang might judge him to be around 100, and General Hatchet Palace Lord might judge him to be around 200. It was impossible to be absolutely the same. But they were all experts, and Dongbo Shui Ying had a high understanding of the Unity Realm. His judgment of potential would not be too bad. Therefore, as long as the junior's potential was within the range of Dongbo Shui Ying's choice, he could definitely choose him. No one would think that he would act recklessly. But if the junior's potential was judged to be outside the top 1,000, General Hatchet Palace Master, General Tingwang, and the others might judge him to be slightly different, but he would still be ranked outside the top 900. If he chose, he would be slapped in the face. Oh, if his potential is not bad, I will naturally do my best to help. Dongbo Shui Ying chuckled. His potential is not bad. I believe that after entering the holy ground, his future will be even more extraordinary. Bayun Palace Master said. I wonder what is his name? Dongbo Shui Ying asked. He is called Huan Lu. Bayun Palace Master chuckled. He is ranked 406th in the Star Pagoda preliminaries. Dongbo Shui Ying's original smile froze. Huan Lu? Huan Lu was a loose cultivator, but he had cultivated for more than 6 trillion years. More importantly, Dongbo Shui Ying had seen the recording of him challenging the Star Pagoda. Being ranked 406 sounded good, but in reality, he had not gotten through the 3rd level. He was merely ranked at the peak of the 2nd level Star Pagoda. Furthermore, the reason why he was ranked at the peak was because his body had been modified. That time, Dongbo Shui Ying saw the recording and deduced, this Huan Lu must have many treasures. His realm is clearly ordinary, and he should only be at the 1st level Star Pagoda strength. But his body has been modified. By relying on his powerful body, he nearly got through the 3rd level. He is merely a Devour class cultivator, yet his body has been modified by a Hex cultivator. Clearly, other experts had helped to modify his body. It was indeed possible to invite other experts to modify his body. Furthermore, with sufficient Origin World rocks, one could even invite Wu Zhu to help, making his body so strong that even Primal Chaos Realm Giants could not destroy it. But the more heaven-defying the modification, the more exaggerated the price. It would be more worthwhile to purchase puppets. This Huan Lu had clearly modified his body for the sake of the Star Convention. He wanted to increase his ranking, but it's a pity that Dongbo Shui Ying, General Hatchet Palace Master, and the others had sharp eyesight. With a glance, they could deduce his body had been modified by others. If he did not modify his body, he would likely be ranked beyond 10,000. Even though he was a loose cultivator, he had cultivated for a very long time. In terms of potential, he was unquestionably ranked beyond 3,000. Someone who was unquestionably ranked beyond 3,000. Was he going to select him? Dongbo Shui Ying looked up at Bayun Palace Master in front of him. Bayun Palace Master remained smiling. Brother Dongbo, he is a loose cultivator, and he is ranked in the 400s. His potential is not bad. He has invited other experts to modify his body. That is why he is ranked around 400. Dongbo Shui Ying shook his head. We choose based on potential. It is impossible for other experts to modify their bodies. Brother Dongbo, you can choose 20 people. And as for potential, every teacher of the convention has different eyesight. Since you have a unique eyesight, it is normal for you to select him. Bayun Palace Master chuckled. Dongbo Shui Ying furrowed his brows. This disciple of Senior Black Emperor, he had already said it like this. Why was he still forcing himself? I will try my best. I still have some matters that I need to attend to. Dongbo Shui Ying stood up. Brother Dongbo, you better give me a definite answer. I will be at ease. Ba Yin Palace Master said. I will try my best. Dongbo Shui Ying replied. How about this? If you choose, I am willing to give Brother Dongbo 200 Origin World Rocks. Ba Yin Palace Master smiled. That Huan Lu had indeed had a fortuitous encounter. He had obtained many treasures, and not only did he modify his body, he also understood the detailed information of the 5 teachers of the convention. Only then did he find Ba Yun Palace Master to intercede for him. The deposit was 100 Origin World Rocks. Once the matter was settled, he was willing to pay another 500 Origin World Rocks. A total of 600 Origin World Rocks was enough for him to enter the sacred ground. Brother Ba Yun, Shui Ying helplessly said, you should also understand that I, as a Unity Realm expert, am taking on the role of a teacher of the convention, and there are some objections to it. I am not just representing myself here. More importantly, I am representing my Great Void Heaven Temple. I cannot slap my Great Void Heaven Temple's face. Therefore, I really can't do anything about your matter. His potential is probably ranked outside the top 3,000. Dongbo Shui Ying honestly interceded because he hoped that the other party could understand. Just a small matter? How can it be considered as giving face to the Great Void Heaven Temple? Ba Yun Palace Master frowned. All right, today is the first time the two of us are meeting. Let's not make things too ugly and give me some face. It's just a slot. Let's do it this way. Dongbo Shui Ying's expression changed slightly. He immediately stood up. Brother Ba Yun, I still have matters to attend to. I will not accompany you any longer. Please leave. Ba Yun Palace Master's expression instantly turned cold. You really don't agree? No choice. Dongbo Shui Ying said directly. Mph. Ba Yun Palace Master laughed angrily. You are just a small Unity realm. You have obtained the inheritance of my teacher. It is fine if you don't feel grateful, but I personally came to ask for your help, yet you did not give me any face. Also, don't call me Brother Ba Yun. You're just a Unity realm and aren't qualified to call me brother. He was truly angered. Being a primal chaos realm giant and the only disciple of the Black Emperor who would not give him face normally, he looked down on all Unity realm experts. In his heart, he did not think highly of Dongbo Shui Ying. After all, so what if he was on the 6th floor of Star Tower? In history, there were many who were stuck on the 6th floor of Star Tower and could not step into the primal chaos realm. For instance, Thunderflame Pagoda Master was stuck there, and Dark World Master had fallen long ago. In his heart, Ba Yun Palace Master truly did not think highly of Dongbo Shui Ying. Even addressing him as brother made him feel uncomfortable. It was only because he had a request from the other party that he maintained a smile and spoke passionately. Who would have thought that this Dongbo Shui Ying, a Unity Realm expert, would be so shameless, giving him 200 Origin World Rocks, yet he did not agree? How much was the total value of all the treasures on Dongbo Shui Ying? It should be at most 1,000 Origin World Rocks, right? 200 Origin World Rocks was a very large sum of wealth. Addressing me as brother? It seems I have climbed up the social ladder. Dongbo Shui Ying coldly said. Since things had reached this stage, there was no need for him to save any face. Someone, send the guest off. Dongbo Shui Ying's voice transmitted. At that moment, a female attendant came in. She walked to the side of Ba Yun Palace Master. She was slightly nervous, but she still said, please. No matter how arrogant Ba Yun Palace Master was, he did not dare to be impudent in his territory in the Blade Emperor city. Mph, you have guts. Ba Yun Palace Master sneered. Why? Still not leaving? Do you want me to chase you out? Dongbo Shui Ying coldly said. Good, very good. Ba Yun Palace Master sneered. He turned around and left in 2 to 3 steps. Dongbo Shui Ying coldly snorted. So what if he was a primal chaos realm giant? He barely had the strength of the 7th level and was just a notch higher than him. Even if he fought with him, he would not be afraid. Furthermore, he was close to the primal chaos realm. The moment he stepped into it, he would be able to easily surpass him. He was being so polite and courteous because of the Black Emperor. But even though he respected the Black Emperor, it did not mean that he had to respect him as a disciple. Since he did not want any face, he could only chase him out. Chapter 9:32. After walking out of the residence, Yun Palace Master turned around with a gloomy expression. This made the two guards at the entrance of the residence not even dare to breathe. A mere Unity Realm expert is so arrogant and ignorant, Yun Palace Master said coldly before leaving. This made the two guards look at each other in dismay. Is he saying that Elder Dongbo is arrogant and ignorant? From the looks of it, his negotiation with Elder Dongbo has fallen apart. Elder Dongbo is the same. Even if he rejected a primal chaos realm expert, he shouldn't have made it so ugly. The two guards talked to each other through voice transmissions. They even quickly told some of their good friends about what had happened and started discussing it. These guards and attendants were arranged by the Blade Emperor City. They were the lowest level members of the Blade Emperor City. They would temporarily serve Dongbua Shui Ying during the Star Convention. The moment the Star Convention ended, they could not be bothered with the inner hall elder of the Great Void Heaven Temple. Hence, they were more than willing to discuss the secrets of these big characters. Very soon, those who were well-informed knew that Yun Palace Master had said that Dongbua Shui Ying was arrogant and ignorant. And those who knew about this matter stood on the side of Yun Palace Master. Because the 5 great sacred worlds of the primal chaos void were used to the high and mighty primal chaos realm experts. A Unity realm expert should be respectful to a primal chaos realm expert. Dongbua Shui Ying was too lazy to care about the discussions of the outside world. Only the weak would pay attention to the actions of the experts. Why would a true expert care about the trivial matters of the weak? Before breaking through to the primal chaos realm, he would not easily offend a primal chaos realm expert. He would rather endure. But under the premise that he had absolute confidence in breaking through, even if he treated the other party politely, he would not tolerate the other party taking advantage of him. So what if they fell out? In just a short while, he would easily surpass the other party. Amen? On this day, as Dongbua Shui Ying was meditating by the lake in his cavern, he suddenly received a message. It was the host of this Star Convention, Heart Imitation Religious Master. There's still half a year before the 1,000-year deadline ends. The name list of General Hatchet Palace Master has already been handed over to Heart Imitation Religious Master. Dongbua Shui Ying was shocked. The message that Heart Imitation Religious Master sent was the list of 20 people that General Hatchet Palace Master had chosen. Not a bad choice. Dongbua Shui Ying took a look. According to Heart Imitation Religious Master's assessment, they were all in the top 300 in terms of potential. Chun Xiong. Dongbua Shui Ying smiled. He had also noticed this name. Monarch Hidden Dragon should have looked for General Hatchet Palace Master as well. I had intended to choose him as well. The little fellow called Chun Xiong had cultivated for an extremely short period of time, and he had only come to seek guidance 3 times in the past 1,000 years. Moreover, his improvement was rather obvious, and in terms of potential, he was probably ranked in the top 20. Days passed by. The entire Star Convention had begun to boil in secret. Those who were well-informed had already begun to know that the names of the teachers of the convention were being submitted one by one. General Hatchet Palace Master had the highest status, so he was the first to hand over the name list. Half a month later, as the only female, the Violet Slaughter Island Master was the second to submit the name list. Another month later, the 5-luster Serpent Ancestor also submitted the name list. Another month later, the Blade Emperor City, which was in charge of hosting the convention, sent out a primal chaos existence, General Heaven Light, to submit the name list. Being at the Unity Realm, Dongbua Shui Ying naturally knew what to do. He chose to be the last to submit the name list. Please pass on the message that Dongbua Shui Ying greets Heart Imitation Religious Master. Dongbua Shui Ying stood in front of a huge residence. The place where Heart Imitation Religious Master stayed was naturally his residence in the Blade Emperor City. It's Dongbua Shui Ying. one of the 5 teachers of the convention, Dongbua Shuang. He is here to submit the name list too. Outside the residence of Heart Imitation Religious Master, there were quite a few people staring at it, especially those talented cultivators who were anxiously paying attention to the name list. They had already thought of ways to know the name list submitted by the previous 4 teachers of the convention. Currently, only Dongbua Shuang was left. The secrecy of a name list was not high. Heart Imitation Religious Master and the 5 teachers of the convention, as well as many primal chaos existences who came to watch the convention, were given a copy. After all, it was meant to be made public, and there was naturally no need to keep it secret. This is the final one. This one is 20 names. I hope I'm one of them. This is the final chance. Some of the talented cultivators who had been waiting outside the residence of Heart Imitation Religious Master were extremely nervous. They were waiting silently. In the past 1,000 years, many of them had visited Dongbua Shuang, albeit Dongbua Shuang had never given them any confirmation. Within the residence, Dongbua Shuang continued walking under the guidance of an attendant. They passed through the winding corridors and arrived at a huge public square. Finally, he arrived at a towering black palace hall. This palace hall was incomparably grand. It occupied approximately 1/10 of the entire residence, spanning an area of 5,000 kilometers. It was also the most eye-catching palace structure in the entire Blade Emperor city. This was also the famous Heart Imitation Palace Hall. Heart Imitation Palace Hall. Dongbua Shuang thought. He knew that Heart Imitation Religious Master would usually cultivate in the Heart Imitation Palace Hall. This was a unique palace specially constructed for cultivation. Elder Dongbua, Religious Master, is inside. The attendant stopped outside the palace hall. Dongbua Shuang nodded. He stepped inside. The huge Heart Imitation Palace Hall was huge and spacious. It occupied an area of 5,000 kilometers. It was empty within. There were no decorations at all. There was only a single figure seated cross-legged on the ground of this dark palace hall. Heart Imitation Religious Master was wearing a loose robe. His robe was spread on the ground. His back was slightly bent, and he had a smile on his face as he looked at Dongbua Shuang. Even though he did not emit any aura, Dongbua Shuang could feel that the entire Heart Imitation Palace Hall was becoming bigger and bigger under his senses. It was boundless and dark. The entire Heart Imitation Palace Hall was like an endless cosmos. And Heart Imitation Religious Master was the core of this cosmos. He sat there as if he was the master of the cosmos. It said that 9th-level star pagoda primal chaos realm giants are not any weaker than cosmos gods in certain aspects. It is indeed true. Dongbua Shuang saw this scene. Even though Heart Imitation Religious Master did not emit any aura and did not display any techniques, just by sitting within the Myriad Imitation Palace Hall made Dongbua Shuang understand how terrifying the other party was. At least for now, it was easy for the other party to kill him. Even if he had the protective treasure given by Forefather Tianyu, he could only last for 1 or 2 moments. Elder Dongbua, Heart Imitation Religious Master's ugly face contained a power that could warm the hearts of others. His voice was gentle too. The first 4 teachers of the convention have been decided. Your name list has been decided. Hence, the 100 names that you have chosen can be made public. I have already chosen them. Dongbua Shuang nodded. He waved his hand, causing a golden silk scroll to appear in front of him. It flew towards Heart Imitation Religious Master. Heart Imitation Religious Master casually looked through it. Suddenly, he frowned slightly. His gaze landed on one of the 20 names, Xing Huasun Yi. Heart Imitation Religious Master looked up at Dongbua Shuang. Xing Huasun Yi, being the host of this star convention, Heart Imitation Religious Master naturally understood the intelligence of all the talented cultivators. He naturally paid attention to Xing Huasun because he was the youngest son of an ultra-expert at the same level as him. Xing Hua Emperor. With such a background, he had cultivated for more than 500 billion years, yet he was only ranked 3,600th. His potential would most likely be ranked beyond 5,000 amongst the talented cultivators. Speaking from his heart, Heart Imitation Religious Master had a good impression of Dongbua Shuang. After all, he was the strongest Unity Realm cultivator in the current era of the two great sacred worlds. He could compete with Lei Yin from the myriad ancient sacred world. Are you sure you won't change the name list? Heart Imitation Religious Master looked at Dongbua Shuang. I haven't announced it to the public yet. You can still change it. There's no need to change it. Dongbua Shuang shook his head. Heart Imitation Religious Master hesitated for a moment before saying, Elder Dongbua, I've heard that Forefather Tian Yu has suggested for you to be the teacher of this star convention. Out of the 5 cosmos gods, 2 are against it, and you barely passed. Your choice doesn't just represent yourself. Instead, it represents the entire Great Void Heaven Temple. The name list was public. Even though some experts could be selfish and shameless, Holy Grounds still cared about their reputation. Being mocked by many cultivators in the dark would be a disgrace to the Great Void Heaven Temple. Many thanks for Heart Imitation Religious Master's good intentions. I've decided. Dongbua Shuang chuckled. Heart Imitation Religious Master shook his head inwardly. It was rare for him to persuade the other party. He then nodded. All right, then the name list will be decided as such. The name list would definitely be there. Following that, Heart Imitation Religious Master circulated the name list to the various parties. At the same time, he began making arrangements to make the name list public. Chapter 9:33. Elder Dongbo of the Teachers of the Convention has also submitted his name list. This news rapidly spread amongst the genius cultivators. At that moment, many of them rushed over to the Star Convention. According to the rules of the convention, the moment the 5 teachers of the convention submitted their name lists, the Star Convention would announce the name list of the participants. I hope I'm on the name list. I must be on it. Many genius cultivators entered the venue of the Star Convention and looked in the direction of the Star Pagoda. They were waiting for the final name list to be announced. Many of them were nervous. Should they continue to be mediocre cultivators in the vast sacred world, or should they ascend to the sky in a single step and enter the holy grounds? Some of them had cultivated for less than 1 trillion years and were qualified to participate in the next Star Convention. As for those who had cultivated for a longer period, they would not have another chance if they missed this opportunity. It was too difficult to step into the primal chaos realm by relying on oneself to temper oneself in danger. How many primal chaos giants did a sacred world have over the long years? Like the 2 great sacred worlds, almost half of the primal chaos giants belonged to the holy grounds. As for the remaining primal chaos giants, some were originally from the holy grounds. It's just that as cosmos gods fell, those holy grounds disappeared, and they could only rely on themselves. Strictly speaking, 70% to 80% of the primal chaos giants were nurtured by cosmos gods. The remaining 20% to 30% had all sorts of fortuitous encounters. Without sufficient fortuitous encounters, it was too difficult to rely on oneself to reach the primal chaos realm. Even if they were adventuring outside, most would not dare to kill disciples from the holy grounds. As for those who did not have any background, many had died. I must enter. I must be on the name list. I must be on it. These genius cultivators looked up in anticipation. They were waiting nervously. Following that, a grand aura surged. High up in the sky by the side of the Star Pagoda, 5 rows of name lists appeared. At the forefront of every list were the names of the teachers of the convention. For instance, the name list submitted by Dongbua Shuang was on the 5th row. Elder Dongbo, Swordsman Yinshun, Xinghua Sun, Imao, to my name. These genius cultivators all raised their heads and looked carefully. High up in the sky, there were the names of the 5 teachers of the convention and the 100 genius cultivators. Every teacher had 20 names. No, some genius cultivators looked at it in a daze. They did not dare believe it. It's me. There were also those who were chosen who revealed excited expressions. There were also some chosen genius cultivators who saw their names still standing coldly in the sky, but their slightly upturned lips revealed their emotions. There were only a few who were truly excited and happy. The teachers of the convention would choose 100 people. Adding the 100 from the Star Pagoda preliminaries, there would only be a total of 200 people. There were more than 16,000 participants in the Star Convention, and the rest had all failed. I've been chosen by General Hatchet Palace Master. Fu Jun, who was dressed in simple robes, raised his head. His eyes were emitting a dazzling light. He turned his head and looked at the distant red-robed woman. That was his former Dao companion. I didn't expect that Xing Huasun would also be chosen. With his strength and the fact that he was taught by Xing Hua Emperor, I'm afraid that many rogue cultivators have higher potential than him. Yet, he was actually chosen? When Fu Jun saw Xing Huasun's name among the huge names in the sky, he could not help but sneer inwardly. Xing Huasun he had seen through his wife's disguise. Fu Jun didn't feel grateful towards Xing Huasun, but he didn't feel any hatred either. He just didn't want to see Xing Huasun again. But when he saw the name list, Fu Jun was slightly disdainful. He felt that the other party must have relied on his father's background to enter the name list. It's useless. The path of cultivation depends on oneself. Even if you enter the sacred ground, you still won't have a future. Fu Jun glanced at the distant golden-robed young man and couldn't be bothered to look at him anymore. He didn't want to see his wife and Yin, and he didn't want to see Xing Huasun either. Xing Huasun raised his head and looked at the name in the sky. With a glance, he knew that Dongbua Shui Ying had chosen him. Elder Dongbua has acknowledged my potential. Xing Huasun was slightly excited. There's no rush. He said that he wants to see the potential I display in the entire Star Convention. After the Star Convention ends, I might be able to successfully take him as my master. The red-robed Yin raised her head and looked. Without a doubt, she who had an ordinary ranking and cultivated for a long time was not on the name list. But Fu Jun and Xing Huasun, who had a close relationship with her, were on the name list. Fu Jun's potential is indeed extraordinary. Xing Huasun's background is also impressive. Even though his ranking is lower than mine, he was still chosen. It's a pity that I lost to him. And Yin sneered. She turned and left the Star Convention. She lost quite badly this time. The huge names that appeared in the void beside the majestic Star Pagoda could be seen even from far away. General Hatchet Palace Master, who was in his cave dwelling, was drinking scarlet wine by himself. The seemingly weak and skinny General Hatchet Palace Master raised his head and saw the names in the sky beside the Star Pagoda. His gaze landed on the name that Dongbua Shui Ying had submitted. Strange. This Dongbua Shui Ying doesn't seem like a foolish person. Why did he choose Xing Huasun? To curry favor with Xing Hua? General Hatchet Palace Master shook his head slightly. He chose Xing Huasun. Violet Slaughter, Island Master, also walked out of the palace hall. She raised her head and looked at the names that appeared in the sky. Her face revealed a look of astonishment. Xing Hua Emperor shouldn't have forced him, right? If he wants his son to enter the sacred ground, he definitely has other methods. There's no need for him to do it in such an ugly manner. Could it be that Dongbua Shui Ying is doing Xing Hua Emperor a favor on purpose? Even though Xing Hua Emperor had other methods to force his son into the sacred ground, he would need to use a favor to do so. Since Dongbua Shui Ying had done so, Xing Hua Emperor would have to be indebted to him. In the end, he's only at the Unity Realm. Violet Slaughter, Island Master, shook her head and curled her lips. She couldn't be bothered with this matter any longer. General Heaven Light was still meditating. When he saw the name list, he merely sneered, laughable. Back then, I guessed that he would embarrass the great Void Heaven Temple. The cold and evil five-luster serpent ancestor raised his head and looked at the names in the sky, following which he lowered his head and continued drinking his wine. As Xing Huasun, he was completely focused on the Tao of Mirage. Other than asking Dongbua Shui Ying for pointers, he did not ask the other 4 teachers of the convention for pointers. General Hatchet Palace Master and the other three teachers of the convention naturally judged Xing Huasunyi's potential to be beyond the top 5,000. They also felt that Dongbua Shuiying was too unsightly. Haha, to be so arrogant in front of me. It turns out that you despise me for giving too little. Baiyun Palace Master was also staying in a cavern dwelling arranged by Blade Emperor City. It was very close to the Star Tower. He raised his head and sneered. With Xinghua Emperor's identity, he shouldn't be doing this. I reckon that his son, Xinghua Sun Yi, has taken out treasures to bribe Dongbua Shuiying. For example, taking out 1 or 2,000 Origin World rocks was enough to move the hearts of ordinary primal chaos existences. Dongbua Shuiying would definitely be moved. With Xinghua Sun Yi's identity, he could still take it out even if he clenched his teeth. After all, with Xinghua Emperor's identity, he could look down on ordinary primal chaos existences. He could easily kill them. Naturally, the treasures he had far surpassed what Baiyun Palace Master and the others had. Actually, when they saw this name list, the others were still fine. At most, they felt that Dongbua Shuiying's table manners were somewhat unsightly and that he had lost the face of the Great Void Heaven Temple. But the other inquisitive Sky Hall Master, who came from the Great Void Heaven Temple, was truly enraged. Dongbua Shuiying, how could? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master received the name list with slight disbelief. When he saw the names that appeared beside the Star Tower, he looked at it again and again. Behind the name Elder Dongbua, there was indeed Xing Huasun Yi. How could he do this? Forefather trusted him and thought highly of him, allowing him to become the teacher of this convention and represent our Great Void Heaven Temple. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master had an ugly expression. Even though he did not understand the situation during the selection, he could guess that Forefather Tian, you must have spent quite a lot of effort to allow a Unity Realm expert to become the teacher of the convention. But this is how he repaid Forefather? It is fine if he is shameless, but our Great Void Heaven Temple still has our face. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master's expression became uglier. He originally had a good impression of Dongbua Shuiying. This was the strongest rising expert among the younger generations of the Great Void Heaven Temple. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master and the others had high expectations of him, and were even thinking of ways to protect him. Knowing that Dongbua Shuiying was in danger, he would personally teleport through an ultra-long distance, sending his incarnations to rush over. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master and the others were looking forward to the day when Dongbua Shuiying would break through and become a Hall Master like them. But this time, Inquisitive Sky Hall Master was enraged at Dongbua Shuiying. Your greatest backing, Dongbua Shuiying, is our Great Void Heaven Temple. Why do you need to curry favor with Xinghua Emperor? Isn't our Great Void Heaven Temple 10 or 100 times stronger than Xinghua Emperor? Chapter 9:34. Shuiying returned to his cavern dwelling after leaving Heart Imitation Religious Master's place. Just as he sat down and took out a flask of wine, he had yet to pour it when the protector entered the courtyard, reporting, "Elder, Inquisitive Sky Hall Master seeks an audience." Inquisitive Sky Hall Master? Dongbua Shuiying was startled. He immediately stood up and took a few steps before arriving at the entrance of the cave dwelling. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master is looking for me. Send a message and I will rush over. Dongbua Shuiying was about to say a few more words, but he noticed that Inquisitive Sky Hall Master's originally black face no longer had a trace of a smile on it. He looked at Dongbua Shuiying calmly and coldly before walking inside. Let's talk inside. Dongbua Shuiying was slightly startled. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master didn't seem right. Following Inquisitive Sky Hall Master, Dongbua Shuiying said passionately, "The Star Convention selection of genius cultivators might be simple, but I didn't dare to be negligent. After all, it is an open task, and I have to do it well. Now that the name list has been decided, I am much more relaxed." Just as I took out a flask of wine brewed from the primitive ancient sacred world's wheat maple leaf before I could drink it, Hall Master came. "Hall Master, please accompany me for a few more cups." You are relaxed because you have done it well? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master stopped and turned to look at Dongbua Shuang. Dongbua Shuang was stunned. You feel that it is well done? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master asked again. Because the first 4 teachers of the convention submitted the name list first, I cannot repeat it with them. Thus, I had to modify it multiple times. But the candidates are all not bad. Dongbua Shuang said. All not bad? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master nodded. Then what do you think of Xinghua Sun Yi? He is very good, very good. He is the best candidate in the name list. Dongbua Shuang saw Inquisitive Sky Hall Master's expression and immediately understood. Haha, Hall Master, are you angry because I chose Xinghua Sun? Are you worried that I will disregard my reputation and try to please Xinghua Emperor? How can I be that kind of person? Hall Master, you can be at ease. You're not the teacher of the convention, so you should not know how astonishing Xinghua Sun Yi's improvement is in these 1,000 years. Shocking? Inquisitive Sky Palace Master was stunned. He could tell that Dongbua Shuang had a card up his sleeve. His anger turned into doubt. What kind of improvement can he make? He had cultivated for 500 billion years, but this was also the case. He had all the treasures he wanted, and he didn't lack pointers from experts. It's only been 1,000 years. How much progress can there be? This wasn't just the thought of Inquisitive Sky Hall Master. Quite a few primal chaos giants had the same thought after seeing the name list. Cultivation required a gradual accumulation. Even if Dongbua Shuang was talented, after reaching the 5th level of Star Pagoda, he had to slowly accumulate and cultivate for a long time. Even his spirit had reached the My Heart as the World realm before reaching the 6th floor of Star Tower. These genius cultivators had cultivated for at least tens of billions of years, while the longest had cultivated for over 1 trillion years. Such a long period, just 1,000 years was not worth mentioning. Like Xinghua Sun Yi and those with a background, they had resources and pointers. This 1,000 years would not be enough for them to improve. It was only those loose cultivators who had cultivated for a long period and had accumulated too many perplexities. Now, they could obtain pointers from existences like General Hatchet Palace Master. Dongbua Shuang was also the strongest Unity Realm expert in the 2 great sacred worlds, and his guidance was similarly precious. This guidance would dispel many of the perplexities the loose cultivators had, and they would have a sudden improvement in their strength. 1,000 years. Only loose cultivators could have a huge improvement. General Hatchet Palace Master, Violet Slaughter Island Master, General Heaven Light, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, and others did not think that Xinghua Sun Yi would improve. Improvement required accumulation. Unless Xinghua Sun Yi had many perplexities in the past, without the guidance of apex experts, it's a pity that Xinghua Sun Yi's father was a 9th level Star Pagoda existence. Relying on the relationship of his father, he could easily seek guidance from many primal chaos giants. His cultivation conditions would likely be better than seeking guidance from the 5 teachers of the convention. He has a huge improvement. Dongbua Shuang chuckled. The other 4 teachers of the convention should know about it. General Heaven Light even transmitted a message to me. His words sounded nice, but it was full of ridicule. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master shook his head. If Xinghua Sun Yi has truly improved, he should not have sought guidance from General Heaven Light. Dongbua Shuang was slightly startled. Wait a moment. Dongbua Shuang immediately transmitted a message to Xinghua Emperor. Xinghua Emperor was interested in befriending him, and the 2 naturally left behind their communication imprints. Monarch, has Xinghua Sun Yi sought guidance from the other teachers of the convention? Dongbua Shuang transmitted a question. Haha, Elder Dongbua, I've seen the name list you chose. The other 4 teachers of the convention did not choose my son. You're the only one. I've even asked this brat, and he said that the other 4 teachers do not know the Tao of Mirage, and that there is no need for him to waste his time. Xinghua Emperor transmitted a message over. Indeed, Xinghua Sun Yi was not like those loose cultivators. His horizons were very high, and he did not feel that it was a rare opportunity to seek guidance from the other 4 teachers of the convention. He was even too lazy to do so. He was wholeheartedly focused on the Tao of Mirage, and in the laws and profound mysteries system of the 5 great sacred worlds. The one with the highest attainments in the Tao of Mirage was Dongbua Shuang. The moment Dongbua Shuang relied on the Tao of Mirage to reach the primal chaos realm, he would be the first primal chaos expert in the Tao of Mirage in history. It was no wonder. After all, there were only a total of 20 primal chaos experts in the laws and profound mystery system. The Tao of Mirage was one of the more obscure Tao paths in the laws and profound mystery system. Those like the Tao of Slaughter were the most commonly seen. You saved my son. This is a huge favor. Haha, I can't thank you with words. Everything will be remembered in my heart. Xinghua Emperor transmitted over. He did not explain in detail. Since he said this, it was clear that he was extremely grateful to Dongbua Shuang. For the sake of saving his son, he had even sought guidance from several cosmos gods. Now that his son was working hard once again, Xinghua Emperor was naturally happy. Furthermore, his son had said that he wanted to take Dongbua Shuang as his teacher. In the future, his relationship with Dongbua Shuang would naturally become closer. After Dongbua Shuang finished transmitting with Xinghua Emperor, he said to Inquisitive Sky Home Master, "I've asked Xinghua Emperor about it, and it seems that this brat Xinghua Sun, he has only sought guidance from me. He has not sought guidance from the other 4 teachers of the convention. Has he really improved greatly?" Inquisitive Sky Home Master could not help but ask, "Really? Unless I'm lying about this?" In the public battle 10,000 years later, Xinghua Sun, he will have to fight too. If I were to lie, wouldn't I be exposed? Dongbua Shuang chuckled. But why would he? He hasn't improved much over the past 500 billion years. How could he improve so much in such a short period? Inquisitive Sky Home Master felt puzzled too. Dongbua Shuang hesitated for a moment. Heartache, it was a disgraceful matter. Xinghua Emperor had asked him for help previously, and asked him to keep it a secret and not leak it out. After all, he had become Tao companions with a girl from the illusory realm, and he ended up feeling heartache. That was indeed disgraceful. In the intelligence he had previously obtained, there were no records of Xinghua Sun feeling heartache. Unquestionably, even though Xinghua Emperor had sought help from several primal chaos giants and cosmos gods who specialized in the illusory realm, he had definitely asked them to keep it a secret. What identity did they have? It was unlikely for them to spread this matter out. There are some minor reasons. Dongbua Shuang did not explain in detail. He chuckled, but currently he has indeed improved greatly. How about this? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master can check the scene from a few decades ago when he came to ask for my help. Oh, Inquisitive Sky Hall Master nodded. Even though Dongbua Shuang said it sincerely, and it did not seem fake since there was no need to lie at this point, Inquisitive Sky Hall Master still did not dare believe it. With Xinghua Sun Yi's background and identity, how could he improve so much in just 1,000 years if he only had that little bit of strength after 500 billion years? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master's eyes looked ahead. A dim light shot out from his eyes, causing the scene ahead to distort. Shua. Very soon, the scene reversed to a few decades ago, when Xinghua Sun asked for help from Dongbua Shuang. Seeing that scene, Inquisitive Sky Hall Master revealed a look of shock and disbelief. Tao of Mirage? Inquisitive Sky Hall Master was startled. He actually pushed the Tao of Mirage to the Unity realm, and this strength is at the 4th level Star Pagoda strength? Dongbua Shuang chuckled and nodded. Over 900 years, with the help of Xinghua Emperor, Xinghua Sun cultivated in the Time Pagoda in Blade Emperor City that was 10,000 times faster than normal. Even though cultivating at the Unity realm would require around 200,000 Origin World rocks for 100 million years, and even Cosmos gods would not be so extravagant. But because it was just a short 1,000 years, it would only require 2 Origin World rocks at a time, 10,000 times faster than normal. Cultivating for more than 9 million years with the best cultivation conditions, treasures that aided in cultivation, in addition to his own accumulations, and the fact that he could ask for help from Dongbua Shuang, Xing Huasun, he had indeed reached the unity realm in the Tao of Mirage. That time, after Dongbua Shuang reached the unity realm in the Tao of Mirage, he soon grasped the dark bubble and directly reached the 5th level star pagoda strength. But even though Xing Huasun, he was formidable, it was clear that his talent in the Tao of Mirage was slightly weaker than Dongbua Shuang. But he had grasped the second style of the absolute art created by Dongbua Shuang, the Mirage Annihilation. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master watched as the scene of Xing Huasun asking for help from Dongbua Shuang appeared in front of him. The more he watched, the happier he became. If I remember correctly, there was only a single person who got through the 4th level star pagoda during the preliminary selections. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master said, and now, Xing Huasun, he has such strength. In other words, his strength should be ranked in the top 3. Dongbua Shuang nodded with a smile. I've said before that he is the best in the name list. Since he did not ask for help from the other 4 teachers of the convention, then it is likely that there will be some ugly rumors spreading in the outside world. Why don't you tell the other 4 teachers of the convention? You must not tell them. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master shook his head. He said delightedly, General Tian Guang has deliberately transmitted a message to me with sarcasm. So be it if it's a rumor. Just let them spread it. Just 10,000 years later, the final battle will be held publicly. By then, Xing Huasun, he will be incomparably dazzling. I am looking forward to seeing their shocked expressions. Furthermore, by then, all the cultivators paying attention to the Star Convention will know that the teachers of the convention sent by the holy ground of the laws and profound mysteries lineage, the Great Void Heaven Temple, are the ones with the highest standards when it comes to selecting talented cultivators. Chapter 935. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master was not willing to inform the other 4 teachers of the convention, and Dongbua Shuang naturally did not object. Even though there would be some rumors, firstly, it was a short period of time, and secondly, there were few who felt that it was unfair for Dongbua Shuang to choose Xing Huasun. The genius cultivators participating in the convention were very concerned. They would gather information, and they would understand that Xing Huasun was the son of Xing Hua Emperor. He had cultivated for 500 billion years, yet his star pagoda ranking was merely in the 3,600s. They would feel that it was unfair, and some of the higher-ups of the 6 great holy grounds would also know about it. As for the ordinary cultivators, they did not have detailed information on Xing Huasun. They might even think that Xing Huasun was a loose cultivator. Hence, they felt that Dongbua Shuang's actions were unsightly. It was mainly a portion of the 16,000 genius cultivators participating in the convention, and a portion of the members of the 6 great holy grounds. The Star Pagoda preliminaries would select 100, and the teachers of the convention would select 100. After these 200 were selected, they would be qualified to enter the Pagoda of Time in Blade Emperor City and undergo 100-time acceleration cultivation. In reality, it was 1,000,000 years of cultivation. Furthermore, they could casually read through a large number of scriptures, and these were the more fundamental scriptures provided by the 6 great holy grounds. Because these 200 would eventually enter the 6 great holy grounds, and the 6 great holy grounds would be able to exchange their fundamental scriptures. Other than that, they would also provide some precious treasures. 1,000,000 years, countless scriptures, and being able to seek guidance from the teachers of the convention. This 1,000,000 years was simply a dream for many loose cultivators. If loose cultivators wanted to obtain a formidable absolute art, they would have to stake their lives and even rely on luck before they could obtain it. But now, a large number of absolute arts were placed in front of them. Xing Huasun, he had to obediently follow the rules. Under the arrangements of the convention, he would undergo 100-time acceleration cultivation like the other chosen cultivators. On this day, Dongbua Shuang looked at the rising sun. It has been 10,000 years. Today is the day that this group of young fellows will battle. To him, 10,000 years was truly a short period of time. If it weren't for the occasional genius cultivators who came to ask for guidance, if he really calmed his heart and cultivated, 10,000 years would feel like a mere moment after some deduction and comprehension. South after leaving the cave, Dongbua Shuang streaked across the sky. Inquisitive Sky Palace Master also flew over from afar. Dongbua. Inquisitive Sky Hall Master and Dongbua Shuang were flying side by side. Even though this 10,000 years is short, there are still some fellows discussing in the dark, especially that one called Ba Yun Palace Master. I've heard that he has been talking about this matter with quite a few primal chaos giants. He even said that he wants to see you become a joke during the ranking battle. Ba Yun? Dongbua Shuang shook his head. This person was indeed narrow-minded and selfish. However, there were all sorts of cultivators, and extremely selfish ones were also very common. Those who submitted to me would prosper, and those who opposed me would perish. It was very normal for Ba Yun Palace Master to bear a grudge against him because of this matter. Laughing at me? Dongbua Shuang laughed. I'm afraid he won't have the chance. That's right, the Inquisitive Heavens Palace Master revealed a smile. So. The two of them flew to the venue of the Star Convention. The seating arrangement was the same as when the Star Convention was held. Dongbua Shuang was seated at the furthest of the 5 seats to the left of Heart Imitation Religious Master. Primal Chaos Giants came one after another. As for the genius cultivators who came to participate in the convention, they had all arrived long ago. Even though many of them were not chosen, they wanted to watch this public battle and see the gap in strength between them. There were also many cultivators in Blade Emperor City. Some were even children. They were looking forward to watching the battle. The 5 teachers of the convention have chosen 100 cultivators. The other 99 are fine, but that Xinghua Sun Yi is unquestionably someone who relied on his background. He is the least qualified one. The many genius cultivators who were watching the battle felt indignant after knowing that they were not chosen. I've said before that he should not be a teacher of the convention. His foresight is clearly not as good as the other 4 teachers of the convention. It's not that his foresight is lacking. Instead, he is more easily bribed. Many genius cultivators were discussing through voice transmissions. Many of them were filled with resentment. If Xinghua Sun Yi was not chosen, this slot might be given to one of them. Let's see. That Xinghua Sun Yi is merely ranked 3,600th in the Star Pagoda preliminaries. In a while, he will be exposed during the battle. Heart Imitation Religious Master's voice was grand and mighty. It reverberated in the ears of every cultivator in the Star Convention, and even in their hearts. This time, the 200 cultivators who passed through the preliminaries will be split into 5 groups. 2 victors will be decided from each group. Ultimately, the 10 victors will fight against each other, and the top 5 will be decided based on their battle achievements. These top 5 can choose any of the 6 great holy grounds to join. Naturally, they will become core members of the holy ground and receive nurturing. Now, the first group will begin. Heart Imitation Religious Master's voice was gentle, yet it caused all the spectators to turn silent. Their gazes landed on a battle platform that was 50,000 kilometers long. At this moment, many figures flew onto the battle platform. There were a total of 40 of them. This was the first group. During the arrangement of the battles, Heart Imitation Religious Master was in charge of arranging it. He would split some of the more powerful genius cultivators into 5 groups. Even so, there would still be 2 victors in each group. Furthermore, even if there were some extremely talented cultivators in a group, the other 200 would have to challenge the Star Pagoda. The teachers of the convention would then select another 5. Regardless, the purpose of the Star Convention was to select the 10 best genius cultivators. The 40 genius cultivators engaged in a chaotic battle on the battle platform. Some were blasted out of the platform, while others activated their survival treasures. Every one of them temporarily obtained a survival treasure that could be activated instantly. But the moment they activated their survival treasure, it would signify their defeat. They would have to obediently leave the battle platform. Being blasted out of the platform would signify their defeat, and the final two remaining on the platform would be the victors. Almost a breath of time later, there were only 8 genius cultivators left. The rest had been eliminated. Another 2 breaths of time later, there were only 3 genius cultivators left. The black cloud rumbled on the body of a genius cultivator, causing him to spurt out blood and fly out of the platform. After he flew out, he stared at the tall and big young man on the platform, thinking, Song Xiong Tianyun, you are ruthless. The first group included Song Xiong Tianyun. He was the only 4th-level Star Pagoda expert in the Star Pagoda selections, and he had a clear advantage over the others. Previously, Song Xiong Tianyun was the strongest of the 3 remaining cultivators, and the other 2 were comparable in strength. This cultivator who was blasted out of the platform even transmitted a message to Song Xiong Tianyun, asking for his help, and he would definitely reward him with 10 Origin World rocks. Who would have thought? Song Xiong Tianyun directly blasted him down. Song Xiong Tianyun is really formidable. He has a huge advantage. He is unquestionably the strongest cultivator in the first group. Even though the battle was fast, the spectators could see Song Xiong Tianyun's strength. Second group. Third group. The selection of the groups was quick. Soon, it was time for the third group. The 40 cultivators of the third group flew up the battle platform. Amongst them was the golden-robed young man, Xing Huasun. Just based on his appearance and temperament, Xing Huasun, he was relatively eye-catching. Xing Huasun, he is up. Look, in a while, he is going to be exposed. The genius cultivators who were not selected felt that it was unfair. They wanted to embarrass that unfair teacher of the convention, Dongbua Shuang. If the person he selected, Xing Huasun, were to lose miserably, it would naturally prove that he had no foresight and was unfair. It was not just the spectators below. Even the primal chaos giants on the high platform were paying close attention. They came to watch the convention and had naturally heard of some rumors. Some of them could not help but glance at Dongbua Shuang, who was seated at the furthest corner of the 5 teachers of the convention. Dongbua Shuang sat there calmly, watching the battle that was about to begin on the enormous battle platform. General Heaven Light glanced at Dongbua Shuang with the corner of his eyes before continuing to watch the battle that was about to begin. The battle immediately erupted. The golden-robed young man, Xing Huasun, he suddenly erupted with a layer of white light. This white, illusory light enveloped the other 39 genius cultivators on the battle platform. This was none other than Xing Huasun Yi's ancient cultivation illusory realm. Having reached such a realm in the Tao of Mirage, and having grasped the illusory mirage annihilation created by Dongbua Shuang, his original ancient cultivation illusory realm had naturally reached a brand new level. The terrifying illusory realm power caused close to half a day of cultivators present to fall into it. There were a few who struggled to stay awake, and only a few who remained completely awake. At the same time, when he unleashed his illusory realm, Xing Huasun, he waved his hand. The fiery light abruptly charged against the bodies of the surrounding genius cultivators. His Tao of Mirage was at the 4th-level Star Pagoda strength, and his bloodline cultivation did not improve by much, though it was still at the 3rd-level strength. Currently, under the group attack, those who had fallen into the illusory realm or were struggling to stay awake could hardly resist. The fiery impact swept out, blasting many genius cultivators out of the battle platform. Only 8 of them were still able to resist. They were relatively strong, and their cultivation hearts were formidable too. But the 8 of them were looking at Xing Huasun with slight shock and disbelief. Not just them. Those genius cultivators below the platform who wanted to see Xing Huasun expose himself and wanted to prove that the teacher of the convention, Dongbua Shuang, was unfair, had their mouths wide open. This. This was the strength of someone ranked 3,600th in the Star Pagoda preliminary selection. Why did it feel that he was even more tyrannical than the first-ranked Tsang Cheong Tianyan? And on the high platform, many primal chaos giants were shocked. Some could not help but look at that white-robed young man. Congratulations, congratulations, Xing He Emperor. Congratulations. Some primal chaos giants began conversing with Xing He Emperor. They had good foresight. Controlling the illusory realm was definitely his own strength. It was impossible for it to be an external force. And over at the side of the 5 teachers of the convention, General Hatchet Palace Master glanced at the leftmost Dongbua Shui Ying with interest. He revealed a grin and thought, interesting. In just 10,000 years, Xing He Sun, he has actually improved so much. And it is an illusory realm too? Dongbua Shui Ying is also famous for his illusory realm. Elder Dongbua. Violet Slaughter Island Master smile was absolutely beautiful. It was filled with a shocking allure. Truly formidable, truly formidable. No wonder you chose this Xing He Sun. In my opinion, he might be stronger than Tsang Cheong Tianyan. Dongbua Shui Ying said instead. The illusory realm specializes in group attacks. As for who is stronger between this brat Sun Yi and Tsang Cheong Tianyan, we can only know during the final battle. Chapter 9, 36. I am curious. General Hatchet Palace Master turned around and chuckled. Xing He Sun, he has cultivated for 500 billion years in the past, yet his illusory realm has become so formidable. Unless Xing He could not find a good teacher for his son after so many years, his comprehension ability must be high for him to improve so much in such a short period. But with such a high comprehension ability, even if he does not have a good teacher, he should not be as weak as he was in the beginning. Elder Dongbo, can you dispel my doubts? Haha. By the side, Xing He Emperor chuckled. General Hatchet, I can only say that Elder Dongbo is indeed the cultivator with the greatest attainment in the laws and profound mysteries system in the Tao of Mirage. His understanding of the illusory realm is amazing. Under his guidance, my son's understanding of the illusory realm has improved by leaps and bounds. I am very grateful to Elder Dongbo for digging out the potential of my son in the illusory realm. Haha, I have made the right choice in coming to this star convention. General Hatchet Palace Master was clearly asking Dongbua Shui Ying, yet Xing He Emperor took the initiative to interrupt. But the other primal chaos giants present were echoing along. What a joke. Hard imitation religious master, General Hatchet Palace Master, Xing He Emperor. They were the 3 strongest existences present. They stood at the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm. They killed experts from the 7th floor of Star Tower in an instant. Killing those at the 8th level of Star Tower was an absolute suppression. Most could eliminate them with a few more moves. Their statuses were equivalent to the Unity Realm experts from the 7th floor of Star Tower. Hence, even the prideful General Heaven Light and the others revealed a smile even if they did not say anything. This Unity Realm brat actually made Xing He Emperor protect and be grateful to him. General Heaven Light sat by the side of Dongbua Shui Ying. Many thoughts flashed in his mind. He could sense that Xing He Emperor was truly grateful to Dongbua Shui Ying. He could also feel the boundless joy of Xing He Emperor. Could it be that Xing He Sun Yi's potential has really been unearthed by Dongbua Shui Ying? General Heaven Light was in slight disbelief. Since Xing He Emperor had already said it, what could General Tianguang do if he didn't believe it? In the world of cultivators, respect for the strong had long been ingrained in their bones. Other than Dongbua Shui Ying, who was a Unity Realm expert, the others were all at the Primal Chaos Realm. From this, one could see how ordinary it was. Actually, it was normal. Primal Chaos giants could reach the 7th floor of Star Tower as long as they had sufficient accumulations. And in the Primal Chaos void of the 5 great sacred worlds, There was no Unity Realm expert on the 7th floor of Star Tower in this era. Primal Chaos Realm experts were naturally looking down on Unity Realm experts from high position. Any incarnation they casually sent would be at the 5th or 6th level Star Pagoda strength, and could easily slaughter a large group of Unity Realm experts. Originally, they looked down on Dongbua Shui Ying in terms of strength. But after that, Dongbua Shui Ying actually disregarded his face and chose Xing Huasun. It made them look down on him even more. But now, it was a complete reversal. Firstly, Xing Huasun Yi's strength was so terrifying. More importantly, he was very weak during the preliminary selections. Clearly, he had improved greatly within a short period, and the other 4 teachers of the convention did not choose him. Clearly, they did not know how frightening Xing Huasun Yi's improvement was. If they knew, General Hatchet Palace Master and the others would definitely choose him. Only Dongbua Shuiying knew and chose him, and it was an illusory realm, even though they did not know how Dongbua Shuiying did it. And how did he make Xing Huasun Yi so formidable? It made them admire this Unity Realm teacher of the convention even more. Secondly, and also the most important, they could feel that Xing Hua Emperor was very grateful and protective of Dongbua Shuiying. Just this point alone made it so that they could not look down on Dongbua Shuiying. The selection of the 5 groups ended very quickly. 2 cultivators were chosen for each group, for a total of 10. These 10 genius cultivators began fighting one-on-one. Each of them had to fight 9 battles, and the top 5 would be decided based on the final battle results. Until now, battles were very important. The top 200 of the Star Convention's preliminaries would not be considered a core even if they joined the 6 Great Sacred Grounds. At most, they would receive the most ordinary treatment. And the final 10 who joined the 6 Great Sacred Grounds would become the core, and they would be nurtured with all their might. Boom! The shockwaves of the battle reverberated across the 100,000 Li battle stage. Song Qiong Tianya and Victory. Each of them had 9 battles, for a total of 45 battles. These battles were much more interesting. All of them had extremely high comprehension abilities, and many of their techniques were rather ingenious. This made the countless cultivators watching the battle below very excited. Xing Huasun Yi Victory. Xing Huasun Yi stood on the battle stage. He did not move at all. He had already fought 5 battles. His battles were the most dazzling, because in every battle, he would stand on the same spot without moving. Usually, he would use his illusory realm first. Even if one could resist against the illusory realm, the opponent's strength would drop by a lot. Secondly, he would use the world prison. Usually, a total of 6 layers of the world prison would descend. Layers of the world prison would wrap around the enemy. Usually, the enemy would not be able to struggle after being bound and would be chased out of the battle stage. He had won 5 consecutive battles so easily. What a terrifying illusory realm. His binding technique is truly terrifying. Even 3rd-level Star Pagoda experts can't struggle free after being bound. The more than 10,000 talented cultivators who failed to be selected were all exclaiming in admiration. 10,000 years ago, he was just at the 2nd-level Star Pagoda. In the blink of an eye, he has become so powerful. Elder Dongbo is so amazing in guiding his disciples. The talented cultivators who failed to be selected previously felt that Dongbua Shuiying was unfair. But now, they felt that the other party was too amazing in guiding his disciples. I've gone to seek guidance before, but why didn't I improve by much? Who asked you not to cultivate in the illusory realm? Right, Elder Dongbo might specialize in the illusory realm. We aren't experts in the illusory realm either. You are also the sons of Xing Hua Emperor. With Elder Dongbo guiding you, why would he do his best? Many cultivators were discussing among themselves. Envy, jealousy. But no matter what, they acknowledged Elder Dongbo's foresight and ability to guide his disciples. Xing Huasun Yi finally moved. When facing a void creature called Kong Yong, he had to execute the 2nd style of the absolute art Mirage Annihilation created by Dongbua Shuiying, the Mirage Annihilation. He was even forced to execute 3 Mirage Annihilation at the same time before he could heavily injure Kong Yong, forcing him to admit defeat. 45 battles were being fought continuously. Finally, it was the final battle. Those in charge of arranging the battles of the Star Convention had deliberately placed the battle between Tsang Qiong Tianyun and Xing Huasun as the final battle. The two of them had won all 8 battles previously. Whoever won this battle would have won all 9 battles and would unquestionably become the strongest expert in this Star Convention. Actually, the two of them would definitely be ranked in the top 5 and would be nurtured as the core disciples. But the two of them were filled with fighting spirit. Tsang Qiong Tianyun stood there. His body was majestic, and rolling black clouds surrounded his body. Clearly, his fleshy body was incredibly strong. The young-looking Xing Huasun, he stood at the other end of the battle stage. His aura was reserved, and he seemed like an ordinary youth without any threat. But suddenly, a faint white light erupted from his body. This faint white light instantly enveloped the entire battle stage. It has begun. Heart Imitation Religious Master, General Hatchet Palace Master, Xinghua Emperor, Heaven Light Religious Master, 5 Luster Serpent Ancestor, Dongbua, Shui Ying, and the others were all carefully watching the battle from the high platform. They might not care much about the previous battles, but this battle was the most important battle of the entire Star Convention. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.